Why, welcome back to the party, everybody. This is Morty, and I am your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Everybody hit that like and subscribe. You know how I do it for you. And let's party! Welcome back. Very good to see you all. We've got our boy John in the building. Welcome. We also got moderator to the stars, Nicholas Lucetti. Welcome to the party, guys. As you know, since we hit the swole goal in our last stream, we've upped the number of push-ups, so check out that goal at the top of the chat. So we've got quite an interesting show for you today. Oh, and so interesting, Morty wants to join us. And, we've covered Andrew Wilson quite a bit. And mostly it's in the form of some type of debate, usually Christian nationalism or something like that. But he actually is friends with P.F. Jung, a smaller channel, calls himself an Enlightened Centrist. And, he does, I don't follow him too closely, but he does a good job of kind of floating in between the two political sides. He's done a lot of stuff with Destiny. He's done a lot of stuff like this that we're about to watch with Andrew Wilson. And, it's just a much better, it's more of a discussion than a debate. And I think it's a good opportunity to just kind of explore what exactly do we think about what Andrew thinks, as opposed to how is he performing in this debate. So, as always, guys, if you cannot hear the video, please do let me.
The woke right. Are you on the woke right, James Lindsay bandwagon?
James Lindsay has quote tweeted me and said I'm on the woke right.
Yeah, he said that's him right here saying, I used to believe that the term woke right was a ridiculous label. I was wrong. This is part of Dave Smith versus Douglas Murray debate. Proves that the woke right is real and Douglas Murray is their leader.
You're on the woke right?
According to James Lindsay, who I guess he's the arbiter of it.
I thought you were a radical centrist.
Well, I thought you were not anti-Semitic, and then I heard that you do not blindly support blindly support the United States sucking Israel's all the time.
Yeah, that's correct.
So I forgot to do this. I'm going to do this while you guys are here because you guys don't care as much about mess up. A little struggle stream. Speed it up. One more. So usually I would have it ready to go and boom. So I could just pull it up, but I forgot. But you guys are cool with it, right? All right, I'm back in.
Blindly support the United States sucking Israel's all the time.
Yeah, that's correct.
Which must mean you hate Jews.
That's what I'm told, yeah.
The Jews!
I'm told that if I don't blindly support any nation other than, mine, the one that I live in, and any of my countrymen, like you, that means that I'm a hateful, spiteful, Jew-hating, et cetera, et cetera. So,
right, which is funny. I retweeted you said, the reason it's impossible for me to denounce, quote, Jews is because in my religion, no ethnic group is evil, nor has evil ontology. Yeah. In fact, evil has no ontology. My criticisms for Zionism revolve around a narrow political ideology, not Jew-spurging. Same with Arab-Muslim distinction. So
I am going to steal that. Jew-spurging. I'm stealing it.
Almost like that's an eminently reasonable position to have.
Yeah, it's an America First position.
Yeah.
So I don't believe that, and Christians don't believe that people are born evil. There are Christians who believe in the idea of original sin, right?
Sure.
But evil is an absence of the presence of God. It doesn't have ontology itself. God has ontology. So the things that you call evil as an atheist and that I call evil, we might agree on, but for very different reasons.
Don't call me the A word.
Or sorry, a secularist.
No. I'm Christian adjacent. We've discussed it.
Secular.
I'm the true Christian. No.
What was the phrase that I was trying to use? A non-believing Christian, or I forget what it was. We got cultural Christian. He's Christian adjacent.
When we'll get into, we'll see if you've evolved away from your nonsense presuppositionalism and moved into the absolute based philosophical pragmatism, which is the best justification of Christianity. Because I talk about Zog quite often. I'm very concerned with Israel dragging us into wars and also massacring Palestinians. I find
but that's the problem, right? It's like, that's not really the America First position. I don't care about them either.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, which is unfortunate, I suppose. But
why? Why is it unfortunate? We have enough going on in this country. Why is it unfortunate?
Yeah,
Many different angles of attack.
Here's the
That's
thing.
fine.
It's like, we've got our own problems. The best thing that I can do is affect my people group in my nation, who are my people group, so that they get the best for themselves. It's a war of tribes, man. And I'm an American, and I'm an American firster. I care about guys like you doing as good as possible. I'm not going to entangle myself in the foreign affairs of others.
Yeah, that's eminently reasonable. So then what?
I mean, Andrew is definitely an aggressive Christian. You're not going to get me to say that that is not true. But as you can see, we're already in much more of a light and playful discussion as opposed to a debate.
What is up with all of the juice burgers, you call them? Do you think that how serious of a threat to the dissident right do you think the people who obsess about Jews are? Because
I think that it's not that big of a deal in terms of, you know, the dissident right, whatever exactly you define that as. I don't think it's the biggest problem, but I definitely think it is an issue. It gives the people on the left ammo to be like, look, see, they're racist, they're anti-Semitic, they're this, they're that, and you know, all that shit. Shout out to TV Viewerski. Welcome to the party. Maybe rehearsal got canceled. What you talking about? You ain't talking about the show, right? That's not a side quest I could take right now, but the rehearsal is amazing, guys. You should be watching.
How serious of a threat to the dissident right do you think the people who obsess about Jews are? Because I love making Jew jokes and jokes about Zog.
Yeah, because it's funny, right?
Exactly. Not because
is I don't have any.
Right.
There's a lot of,
and that's the right. It's funny and nice to be able to make jokes about edgy things because they're funny. Once you take it into the category, not the category, once you take it into the realm of, no, I actually believe this, and it's funny because we're owning these people that we legitimately don't like, that stops being funny, and it stops us from engaging in that type of, that type of joking. And when it was something we were already doing in a lighthearted manner, now it's just like, why are you guys ruining all the fun?
A lot of people. Well, okay, let me try to frame this right without sounding like an arrogant dick. So I'm gonna try to do this right.
When is that ever
not gonna work, bro?
Never held you back before.
Yeah. So with a bit of humility, I'm a weapon, and there's a lot of people who think their hands would wield me best. And so because that's the case, many people vie their ideologies so that I'll go in on their behalf and bring a massive audience with me in order to support their ideology, even though I've always been very, very crystal clear that the Crucible is going to do its own thing. We've rejected many contracts from many large organizations. We're not going to work with them. Fuck them. We're always going to stay independent and do our own thing. Unless it was the case that some organization came along who literally had the exact same interests, you know what I mean? And would give us the viable push into the mainstream because they just agreed with everything we had to say. We might compromise there. But the truth of the matter is that as an independent operator, I can tell all of them to go fuck themselves and get behind enemy lines in a way a lot of these fucking people can't, and just completely wreak destruction on all these fucking sides of these lunatics who are all over the internet and all over the space. So.
And I mean, you know, whether you agree with his worldview or his talking points or anything, that is a very clear thing that when we worry about, oh, are you, being funded by George Soros or Israel or AIPAC or this or that? If you're just some guy, then it doesn't mean that you aren't a grifter, but it is, a big hurdle that you don't have to overcome. But like, well, I get all this money, but blah, 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 blah. Shout out to Ty Cobb. What's going on, mama? Welcome to the party. Oh, you scared me, bro. You scared me. I need that last episode of the rehearsal. Well, shout out to that wedding. You gonna kill it.
Completely wreak destruction on all these fucking sides of these lunatics who are all over the internet and all over the space. So
what an enlightened centrist position to have. Wreak havoc on all sides. Because we are surrounded by fucking degenerates. There's left-wing degenerates and right-wing degenerates.
I wreak havoc on the enlightened centrist as well.
No, well, we are a highly adaptable, flexible bunch, and so we can take your criticisms.
You're far more right wing than you like to let on. By the way, far more right wing. You always have been. By the way,
Yep. Shout out to TV Viewerski with a $10 PayPal. Thank you so very, very much that everybody hit the like button, and thank you Morty here for sponsoring the stream. And of course, that is TV Viewerski giving up his sponsorship spot to our co-host and overlord. Thank you so very, very much. Hail Morty indeed. Look at him. Look how goddamn cute he is. It's a nice warm day, and we were just outside, and he just plopped down on the hot cement, and he Loved it. Thank you so very, very much, sir. And of course, that makes you guys the new sponsors of the stream. That's 1 out of 15 donations and 10 out of $50. Either one hits the swole goal, guys. Either one hits the goal. Help bulk me up. I'm a tiny little puny little bitch.
Than you like to let on, by the way. Far more right wing. You always have been, by the way. I've never believed your centrist fucking trope of bullshit. I've never believed it for a second. I think at night, when you listen to all the fucking crazy,
pray to God,
you agree the most with guys like me. You're like, I think these Christ nats got, they. Yeah, in fact, I watched a video.
Yeah, Andrew, you're not wrong. But the problem with what you're saying is that we have a reason why we agree with you more, but not completely. You're so close.
You did, where you're like, basically, the Christian nationalists are going to get it all, and you're right. We are.
Yeah, I just posted one. The 3 political vibe shifts that will be changing. Yes, the Christian nationalists are in the ascent, no doubt, and that's a direct result because of all the degeneracy and nonsense that came. A lot of it from the left, but it also comes from the right.
Centrist.
No.
Yeah, you're the biggest enablers. You're the enablers.
Wrong.
Yes. No, not wrong. You're the
ultimate enemy of the enlightened centrist, besides the regular moderate centrist, is degeneracy itself. There's nothing that
well, what is the enlightened centrist going to do about degeneracy? Nothing. They're just going to be like, do your thing, man. It's going to articulate. Smoke some weed. You just do your own thing, bro.
I'm sober now. I don't smoke weed anymore. No alcohol.
I do, but that don't make my ideas bad. Shout out to Tag. Welcome to the party. Says centrist, huh? We'll see about that. Our resident fence sitter. We will see. I said, that's very sweet of you, but I'm not your mama. Your mama's so fat that when she sits around the house, she literally sits around the house. All right. We got the Gen Xers in the building.
You just do your own thing, bro.
I'm sober now. I don't smoke weed anymore. No alcohol, no weed, no porn, no nicotine.
No alcohol.
Beast, bro.
Alcohol?
Yeah, right. Wait, hold up. You're going to be like, weed, man. Whereas you can't do anything without smoking half a pack of cigarettes and half a bottle of whiskey. Come on, bro.
I'm sober now. I don't smoke weed anymore. No alcohol, no weed, no porn, no nicotine.
No alcohol?
None. Topo Chicos only. Topo Chico squad.
But it used to be a lot.
I said, shit, me too.
Funner when you had a drink.
That's true. As my reach and influence expands, Andrew, I need to be a bit more careful. Some of the things that once perhaps were uttered on a 50-person live stream with Yumi and Zen Shapiro, your sidekick eunuch is no longer fit for
get it, Zionist Ben Shapiro
for large audiences.
But after breaking both of his hands, bludgeoning your face multiple times, he's had a lengthy recovery, bro. He's had a very lengthy recovery from just breaking every bone in his.
That's why. See, this is why I know you're more left wing than you really are, because I've always admired you. You have a soft spot for the weak, and Zen Shapiro is the weak that you bring.
Why do you think I'm here, bro? It's a soft spot.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. It's a very paternal role.
So if you didn't know exactly what I meant in the opening, this is, a little bit of a different context to see who Andrew Wilson is, especially because I just watched a debate he did on whatever that we absolutely have to cover. And it is a very different vibe.
No, you see, what your problem is, well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out in this conversation. I don't know to the degree to which you have the mechanisms built into your ideology to resist going too far right. You told, I think it was Steven Crowder, that you are far right and moderate dissident right.
Yeah.
So moderate, sounds very centrist of you, Andrew. Why are you not far dissident right?
Because ideologies are balanced on pillars. And so
and enlightened centrism is the central pillar in which all ideologies balance.
No, that's not the case. The idea of philosophical, the philosophical view that you take of enlightened centrism is just its own encased ideology with its own pillars. So each ideology is contained in and of itself, though there's overlap between them. Each one is its own house on its own pillars. You just saying that it's centrism, and so therefore it's in the middle of all other houses, is just a giant fucking cope, bro.
Well, I mean, maybe so, but trying to act as if your ideology is unquestionably the ideology is always cope. You said, I only allow myself 2 vices, weed and 1 single video game. Never add a third vice. Never say never, baby. I really only drink during the stream. I mean, I'll like, if I go out, I'll drink, but I don't really go out. So, I got my alcohol. I got my weed again, mostly to sleep. Kratom is the big one. And then my nicotine vape. So I got 4, but only one of them really affects your mind like that. So I'll live.
It's centrism, and so therefore it's in the middle of all other houses. Is just a giant fucking cope, bro.
Well, that's
just a giant cope.
I know. And when you say I'm right wing, I know what that means to you is right wing equals good. So you just mean Paul, you embody good characteristics every now and then.
Yeah,
which I believe you believe that.
I do legitimately believe that the left are the bad guys. Yes.
But see, notice how he didn't need to, and I'll give Andrew a little bit of credit in the fact that he has a history with P.F. Jung here. But the getting into the super granular semantics, clearly he can understand a normal conversation without having to do that. Now, because of the fact that he does do debates, using debate tactics is not, uncalled for. But let's not pretend, well, I don't know what you mean unless you define it. Like that guy Christian who was here, and he couldn't understand that I was talking about left versus right or liberal versus conservative. And then I gave him a specific definition that I said specifically for this conversation. When I say liberal, I'm referring to somebody who is willing to vote for, at the time it was Joe Biden. And if I say conservative, I am talking about somebody who is willing to vote for Trump. And even still, he was like, well, I mean, I don't know what that, I just defined it for you. So, you can play those games well, and you can play those games not so well.
Yeah, but the very, very worst of the bad guys, and that there's no such thing as a good Democrat. They're all fucking worthless scum. And really? That the only thing that's worthwhile.
Are they all equally worthless scum?
I mean, they start at worthless scum and just go to more worthless from there. But all Democrats are useless, fucking worthless scumbags who, and by the way, most
What do you like Republicans?
Do.
I was going to say, what is this?
Most Republicans do.
Exactly. Thank you. Enlightened centrist position.
Yeah,
they
the
both
default. No.
There you go. He's bringing them. I hate the left. I hate the right. I hate up. I hate down. That puts you in the center.
Oh, no. Yeah. One sucks way worse. And the default for all Democrats are you start sucking right away. Just being by name. If you say to me, yeah, by the way, I support the Democrat, I instantly know you're a fucking piece of shit. Just instantly.
You're not progressives. There's plenty of working class Democrat, like
all worthless
people.
All fucking worthless. If you support Democrats, you're a fucking idiot and you're worthless. They are.
See, I'm more on the side of that there's a lot of ignorant people that maybe don't know the ins and outs and just think that because of the propaganda that they see on the news, other people talking, whatever, that one side is the good side and the other side is the bad side. I was one of those people. And then I started to learn more and realize it's not that simple. And, by going through all these different things, I realized I do lean a little bit more right.
Are the most worthless, thieving, conniving pieces of fucking shit who have ever existed.
When you say that, I want you to know that when you say that, I get it, I perceive it exactly the same as when Destiny says the same shit about conservatives. It is just a man possessed by ideology, unable to travel down the more nuanced path to excise either side of its freaks, which there are absolutely freaks on the far right.
I'm way more nuanced in my views, I think, than the Coomer Gremlin. And I got to tell you,
that's not really a badge of honor. You're more nuanced than Destiny. Oh, wow. TV said, I don't think it's ignorance. I think it is being lazy. What are we talking about?
Yeah. Right?
Maybe it's
all of the formal axioms of the Democratic Party are fucking evil. Like, name a single
that I agree with. That doesn't mean everybody who unknowingly votes for them is evil.
Democrat Party axiom that's not evil.
Wealth inequality is a real problem.
Wealth inequality
is a real problem.
You're the wealthiest fucking people who've ever existed on planet Earth, dude. Like, literally, we're having a conversation, Americans, we're having a conversation from across the fucking nation to each other right now for cents, for pennies.
What does that have to do with the difference between how much people make in that country?
Pennies.
Yeah, well, that's because
that's precisely what you would expect in a country where there's wealth inequality. I'm not even saying good, bad, or the other. I'm just attacking his argument.
You and I are white, Andrew, and obviously,
first of all,
the dominant race.
By the way, most of that wealth fucking inequality they're always bitching about comes from the very same fucking NGOs, which then back up Hillary Clinton and the rest of the.
Oh, so there is wealth inequality.
Of course, in order to do insider trading, because they're all fucking cocksucking snakes.
Andrew, I live by a very important principle, which is I do not bring people on to this channel to agree with them, because you and I will agree all day that Hillary Clinton and the Podesta folks are exactly the kind of people who people watching this suspect they are.
All right, let's get into it. Let's get
do you
into
think
it.
There's no good Democrats. Can you agree with that? There's not a saying. All axioms of the Democrat Party are bad. Every one of them.
No, I think all.
Nope. I mean, the saying is there for a reason, right? If you're not liberal when you're younger, you have no heart, and if you don't get more conservative as you get older, you got no brain.
Individuals contain both good and evil within them.
Okay, individuals, sure.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about that. We're talking about ideology. Is there a single axiom for the Democrat Party that you actually agree? Just one. Just give me fucking one.
Yeah, wealth inequality is a real problem.
Okay, what's the problem with wealth inequality?
I'm for universal health care. What do you think about that?
Why?
Nah.
Because I think the hyper-libertarian mindset, because, I'm sorry, I'm an America First nationalist.
Yeah.
Citizens come before other people of the country.
Look at
Right, but the people giving the service and the people getting the service, theoretically, are both citizens. So you're then giving more rights to poorer citizens because of the fact that they're poor.
But we have the examples now of the universalization of healthcare. It's a fucking disaster. Look at Canada. It's a fucking disaster.
The NHS in England is like very highly rated.
No, it's not. It's fucking trash.
It's one of the most.
By the way, they're
that's just a lie.
rating themselves. What do you think they're going to do? Give themselves a bad fucking rating?
No, the citizens in the UK rank it as one of their.
Yeah, that must be why they come over here for private healthcare all the fucking time, huh?
Yeah, true. There's
I mean, my parents spent 2.5 years in England. And my dad is a doctor. So he was doing doctorate studies in England and then is a doctor here. So no, not the case. TV said compelling services. There is a name for that. Fascism.
It's cost benefit. I'm also not sold on universal health care. I'm sympathetic to it. But okay, hold on. This is all neither here nor there.
Okay.
The deeper philosophical issue. Don't destiny me right now. This is
okay. I'll even grant you one.
Sounds like a Gen X to me.
I'll even grant you one. Can you give me a single other axiom you agree with? Let me just grant that one.
Of the Democratic Party?
Yeah.
Let's try. Let's try to be good faith there. There's got to be something that not the politicians, but the platform of the Democratic Party, something that they are trying to accomplish. There has to be something there that is not born out of lying and trying to get more money and power, right? There has to be something. I think I don't know, because I do think that most, when we talk about the voters, I think the racism stuff is very genuine in the sense that people just don't want other people to be racist. I think that's the average Democrat. If you ask them about racism, that's what they think. But again, we're not talking about Democratic voters. We're talking about the ideologies. So I'm not saying there isn't one. I just can't give you one off the top of my head.
No, nothing.
Yeah.
So it's just wealth inequality. That's the fucking axiom. So if Republicans are like, we're going to do
You really don't care.
something about this wealth inequality, then you would have to be a Republican necessarily.
No, the reason I don't want to give you one is I want to move on to a different.
Yeah, you want to move on. All right.
See,
Also, a little side thing. Notice, actually, hold on. I'll pull something up.
You know what I think? I think I'll take the bait and stay here for a moment. When you play the Democrats are evil card, some of them are, sure.
No, the axioms of their ideology.
Okay, fine, sure. All right, well, we'll get to that when I destroy your metaphysical worldview once again.
Okay.
I'm much more prepared this time.
Okay.
But when you
Okay, fine. All right. So all I want to say is notice the very basic StreamYard setup that you've got this background and you've got these two floating things that are just kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I feel like I want to like squint in and see. Compared to, you can very, very easily switch your shit up. Look how much cleaner. Look how much cleaner that looks. And it's not, this isn't the one where everybody is like that. It is, I made it myself, but this is what it looks like for one person. And it's so frustrating to me when people don't take the time to do very, very basic things like that. I don't know, just nitpicking. Oh my goodness, what do we got here? Shout out to Holly with the $10. Thank you so very, very much. And of course, a treat for Morty said kick off, and glad I'm not at work for once. Well, we are glad to have you, and of course that makes you the new co-sponsor of the stream. Guys, we are 20 out of $50. Let's do some push-ups. We are getting close. Thank you so very, very much, Holly, and welcome to the party.
For your metaphysical worldview once again.
Okay.
I'm much more prepared this time.
Okay.
But when you do that, you basically enable people to then support Republicans blindly, who are, in my opinion, just as much neocons who want to get us into foreign wars and spend money on the military-industrial complex.
Right, but there still is a choice to be made. There still is a choice to be made. Do we want, when it comes to November, Democrats or Republicans? All the other stuff that you want to talk about can be dealt with between the 4 years of the general election. But no matter what, you can't just say, oh, both sides are bad, as if that's some profound thing. Yes, you have to pick between the lesser of two evils if you would like to be engaged in politics at that level.
Conservatives are not the party anymore. It's still true that
Correct. It is changing
big charges, but that is not the case. The Republican Party is being taken over by guys like fucking me.
Listen, I've been saying it for the last 3 years. Okay, the Christian nationalists are on the ascent. But you know what? That's why.
And while we're at it, a big shout out to the disciples.
Why I've come here, Andrew, because as much as I like you, until you bend the knee to enlightened centrism, I don't think you're in a position to. I don't want you spearheading the right vanguard of the.
Oh yeah. How was your?
Yeah. Me neither. And again, we could do worse, but we could certainly do better.
How's it going with that master enlightened centrist Jordan Peterson and all of his cock gargling for fucking Israel? How do you like that? How do you like when he sticks that big Israeli dick right down his throat? Your hero.
Andrew.
Is that your favorite, bro?
Another big Jordan Peterson fan. So I'm actually surprised, Guantech, that you're not that you don't follow this guy. I feel like he's right up your alley.
You know what your best quality is? Your best quality is saying things I 100% agree with, as if I don't believe them myself. Nothing to argue with. Nothing to argue with.
Down your throat, bro.
Nothing to argue with.
And didn't I tell you 2 years ago that Jordan Peterson, well, you would end up rejecting his ideology the more that you were exposed to it, and you're like, I don't think so. Jordan Peterson is the man. Everybody should be listening to him. Blah 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 blah. And now you're trying to take all 8 inches out of that fucking mouth, PF. You're trying to. Just saying.
Yikes.
I disagree with your characterization. I think more than 2 years ago, I was saying that Jordan Peterson has absolutely fallen. And
yep. I just put up a poll, guys, asking, have you seen Andrew Wilson outside of a debate context? Something like this, where it's not him bringing a prompt or something to defend.
Well, let's get into it now. Why don't we? Well, actually, hold on. There's a few other things before, because once the gloves come off, they're not going back on.
We're just warming up,
talk
guys.
to Jonathan Peugeot anytime soon?
I don't know.
He's an Eastern Orthodox guy.
Okay.
All right, we'll leave it at that.
I'm not that familiar with his work.
All right. I won't dig anything. Okay, let's see.
I mean, you know, over here we call it like it is. We got to give you your flowers when you hit.
You dig. I'll just be honest with you. You know, it doesn't hurt my feelings if you dig into like what my plans are, what I want to do. Like that doesn't bother me.
Okay, well, can I ask you what I?
Oh yeah, I missed this from Nick before. So I don't want my surgeon to lowball bid with my life in the balance. It's crazy to think that you can get the same level of care if you're relying on the government to take care of you. You can't. You just can't. I mean, you could think that you can, but you are absolutely right, sir. Hey, shout out to Trey Williams in the building. Welcome to the party. And of course, another treat for more. Oh, that was a big one. He almost dropped it. Thank you. No question, no comment. Just pure love of the game. That's 3 out of 15, guys. 3 out of 15. We are getting there. Thank you so very, very much. And welcome to the party.
Like what my plans are, what I want to do. Like that doesn't bother me.
Okay, well, can I ask you what I asked you over DMs?
Go ahead.
I believe you had, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe you had said something to the effect a few years ago, or maybe within the last year or so, that one of the things you were considering was leveraging your audience or your platform to do actual political activism, particularly in something like divorce court reform.
Yeah.
Which I think and even a lot of feminists, even if they're not completely brainwashed, would agree that the divorce courts are deeply systemically biased against men.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, that's fucking base as fuck. That's very enlightened centrist of you.
Base.
What are your plans with that? Will that ever happen? Would you support that? Or
so I don't even necessarily know how I feel about the Crucible doing political action. But if they are going in the more of the red pill side as opposed to the Christian nationalism side, I'm all about that. I think that I think it's hard for to find people on, we'll call it this side of the internet, that don't, at least to some level, think that okay, the divorce court laws, custody, family court laws need drastically to be changed. So could be worse. Could be worse. Yeah, right. Gonzaga said, I wonder if Andrew doesn't like Peterson because he's not a real Christian. I wouldn't blame him. I wouldn't blame him.
Have you? What are your plans with that? Will that ever happen? Would you support that? Or
if I were to involve myself in political action, I wouldn't want to be a politician because I don't have very much power. I, on the other hand, would much prefer to have an NGO setting behind the scenes supporting frontmen who did everything possible to lay the groundwork for the destruction of all feminist activity on planet Earth.
Which includes divorce court meddling.
Yes, as the Dark Lord. Okay, it is important.
The Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, it's important. It's important that if we have a Palpatine, that he does Palpatine-like stuff.
Do you? I don't.
Star Wars stuff. I don't get it.
Respect your Star Wars analogies because you wear a Kylo Ren hoodie, and those movies are objectively the worst movies of all time.
Okay, but Kylo Ren killed Han Solo. Ray, you got anything to raise against that?
I mean, I know who Han Solo is.
He's part of the worst series of all time. He's part of a Disney remake of the series, which are garbage.
Yeah, okay.
You know that.
I agree that everything about those movies was shit, except that he killed the most insufferable character.
Fine, not redeemed.
Which is Han Solo.
Okay, you could have had a Revan hoodie, and you chose a Kylo Ren hoodie. Okay, listen.
I mean, come on.
I'm letting this play for you guys. I have absolutely no idea what they are talking about. Shout out to John. Welcome to the party. Said Andrew's a softie. Oh, just a big old teddy bear. Just a big old teddy bear. I mean, clearly he can be. But when he switches it on, he is in there. I'm just like, damn, I'm really enjoying the playful jousting between them. There's not that constant underlying and condescending tone that seems to come part and parcel with the left. Well, that's because he's not on the left. He might lean a little bit more left, but he is certainly like that was what I was saying earlier on about him, calling himself the Enlightened Centrist, that he's had similar conversations with Destiny, where he's going to, combat that thing. I think he even brought it up that when Andrew is saying, oh, all Democrats are just evil and bad, he's like, I hear the same thing that when Destiny says all conservatives are, bad and da-da-da-da-da. So, I think that is precisely why, is that he is not on the left. So if he was on the left, then it probably wouldn't go this well.
Well, look, listen, Revan. They totally did.
Look, when I'm on Piers Morgan, I'm asked to publicly condemn Andrew Wilson. I say I will publicly condemn Andrew Wilson. He wore a Kylo Ren hoodie when he could have worn a Revan hoodie, which shows how utterly archetypically weak he is in his ability to evaluate art properly.
Okay,
disgusting.
Yeah, so most of you are saying that you haven't seen him outside of a debate. So I'm glad we chose this, because I think, as John's saying, I didn't like Andrew at first, but he definitely grows on you. I mean, I'm never going to be down with the Christian nationalist stuff, but I completely agree that he is good at what he does and he is consistent, which is at the very least something you don't see very often. So the I forgot what I was going to say. It'll come back to me eventually. I said I agree. At least they are civil in their dialogues back and forth. Nice to see for a change. Anyone like LOS or Rap, or specifically Louis J. Gomez? I like Louis. Is that Legion of Skanks? Yeah, I like I like Louis. What's good with Louis? I said jousting with a rubber gauntlet, or whatever that pointy spear thing is called. What is it called? It's called I forget. The thing with the joust.
And
I'm rewatching Game of Thrones right now.
Weak he is in his ability to evaluate art properly.
Okay,
disgusting.
Look, Kylo Ren, the character.
Oh my God, we're still talking about this.
Is because he killed the most insufferable
Lance, Star Wars. There you go. Smart guy.
Character ever.
You don't Han Solo?
Yes.
The most insufferable.
Most insufferable.
Okay, all right. Compared to Jar Jar Binks, what's
like at the time they were doing the rogue archetype with everything. You know what I mean? The handsome rogue who's I'm actually secretly the good guy, baby, but I'm actually a fucking horrible criminal too. You know what I mean? They were doing that whole archetype forever, and it was like the guy was fucking insufferable. Where was well, you know what it is?
This is Shadow.
Fair enough, John. I'm not, you know, he's not asking for a violent takeover, but he still is asking for my way of life to be destroyed. So I'm still not down with it. I am very happy that he is not, you know, going through violence, but he's still doing stuff that I don't like. Shout out to Bucks in the building. Welcome to the party. Very good to see ya. Good to see ya. Yeah, I don't know nothing about nothing. 1 like equals 1 Jar Jar Binks is the worst. Shout out to Indie Bam. Welcome to the party. Said not an Andrew Wilson fan. So now that we are not in a debate context, let's see if Indieville will change his mind. Welcome to the party. I'm gonna just because of what they're talking about. I'm gonna back it up just for you.
But I'm actually a fucking horrible criminal too. You know what I'm saying? They were doing that whole archetype forever, and it was like the guy was fucking insufferable.
Han Solo was talking about.
Where was well, you know what it is?
This is shadow projection.
Well, where was the projection stuff? Where do we get to see Han Solo doing the criminal activity and horrible fucking things?
Nowhere.
He's just a good guy, and he is a good guy. And the whole time they're calling him a bad guy, and I'm like, what the fuck?
It sounds like shadow projection because you know that deep down the inside you're trying to be the good guy that's secretly the bad guy. Oh, I'm the
no one. I thought Jar Jar Binks was the worst character in the entire thing. Who's the worst character in the entire franchise? John said, just like Louis J. Gomez, Andrew is a nice guy. Louis gets misunderstood in the same way as all. Fair enough. I could see that. Like said, Sith Lord Jar Jar would have been the best storyline for the new Star Wars movie. Much better than what we got. I will have to take your word for it. 1 Sith Lord Jar Jar movie. 1 like equals 1 Sith Lord Jar Jar movie. Bog said, I feel like the internet is Andrew's punching bag for his feelings. If he was a lesser man, he would be dumping this on Rachel. I don't know. I don't know. I think that a lot of people who don't like him tend to act like he is this angry guy. I don't think he is, just because he, you know, the blood sport debater. He seems like he's a generally happy person. Like I'm not saying that he is necessarily like a role model or anything like that, but I do think he is somebody who seems to, you know, figured out what he wants to do with his life. So give me 1 second here, guys. If you guys are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our Disciple chat for members only, our Word of the Day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join. There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And guys, remember that if you join through the free chat, the link pinned at the top of the chat, you get a free pass to the after party. You get the entire thing. Come and hang out with us. It is a good time, and it is absolutely free. Let's shout out Gabriel. Welcome to the party. Very good to see you. I don't know. Somebody was that you? I don't know who Mostly Political is on Twitter, but Uncensored America has the debate that Gabriel and I did with the Wilsons, with Andrew Wilson and Rachel Wilson. They said it's on the release schedule. I've told you I didn't lie about it. It is coming. It is coming. Welcome to the party, guys. Let's dive right back in.
Because you know that deep down the inside, you're trying to be the good guy that's secretly the bad guy. Oh, I'm the rogue, and you're out here being all misogynistic and all that shit.
Was the good guy. I've always believed Palpatine was the good guy in Star Wars.
Well, to be honest, they never
older brother, younger sister
really articulated exactly why the Empire was evil in the initial movies,
or in the subsequent movies, which in the prequels obviously showed that Palpatine was the good guy who was trying to take this fucking crazy cult of Enlightened Centrist, who
they were not Enlightened Centrist. Who decided the Rebels are far too cringe for that.
No, not the Rebels, the Jedi. The Jedi.
No, the Jedi are not enlightened. You know who is enlightened centrist? Kreia from KOTOR.
No.
Oh, that's the definition.
Total
Gray
dark
Jedi.
side.
No.
Dark side. She wasn't a gray Jedi. She was dark side.
Well,
I hope you guys are enjoying this.
she ended up
The Star Wars part.
as Darth Freya, but
No, she
Kreia
was always Darth Vader.
Okay, yes, but well, fine, that's fine. An enlightened centrist pretends to be in the middle, but is ultimately right wing, right?
No,
yeah, the whole like you agree that
she was
Kreia is one of the best
fucking
characters.
evil.
You agree that Kreia is one of the best characters in the Star
No,
Wars
she was
universe.
no.
You don't
she
think so?
wasn't good. No.
God, man, increasingly I respect your artistic
No.
and aesthetic opinions less and less. Didn't you say? Don't you have?
First of all, she was a woman. What threat did she really pose?
Hold on.
What threat did she really
Oh my God!
pose?
Listen,
I can't, guys. I'm sorry. I do not know what they're talking about. And
her name.
You know what?
People.
What is every side?
Floating? This was good.
link to the full conversation is in the chat if you desperately need to hear their Star Wars talk. One like equals I don't like Star Wars either.
The wife jack meme.
Oh, by the way,
yeah,
my favorite debate of all time was you versus Vosh.
Really?
Yeah, it's
That's
one of my
saying a
favorite
lot.
debates ever.
That you moderated or that?
I thought you did
Interesting.
really well at coming across as completely non-threatening as you completely destroyed his idea. He changed his mind live. It's one of the first times I've ever seen him change his mind live. He's like, yeah, I guess you're kind of right that I really shouldn't actually, commit that this guy's an evil, genocidal, maniacal maniac like I was with my rhetoric, but I do have a degree in sociology. And you were like, exactly, Vosh. So it's one of my favorites. You did a good job with that.
I did enjoy it. Well, yeah, precisely because I did the opposite of what you did, which is you come out and you go, all right, I'm going to debate someone. I'm going to put them in my sights and then I will bash their head in rhetorically. Whereas I go, let me speak to the real person. Right, let me use all the wit and charm that I can muster. Which, by the way, I'm using all the wit and charm I can muster right now, Andrew, to keep you in debate mode. Because as soon as debate mode happens, I'll still crush you.
He watched Goblin porn, by the way. He was watching Goblin porn.
Short stack goblins.
Goblin porn, bro.
No, short stack.
Yeah,
goblins.
short stack. Stack.
So Gabriel, you donated 20. So it was at DebateCon, which was put on by Modern Day Debate, but it was actually Uncensored America who hosted the thing. So again, shout out to Mostly Political. I don't recognize who you are, but as to when is the Indian Jesus and Andrew Wilson debate coming out? Soon. It's coming up on the release schedule. So I told you I didn't lie. It is coming. It is coming. What do we got here? All right, we'll dive back in.
Goblin porn.
Short stack goblins.
Goblin porn, bro.
No, short stack.
Yeah,
goblins.
Short stack goblins. That's what he thought.
Oh, Vosh. Yeah,
Like,
okay, we knew that.
Short
We knew
stack, and I dream of horses who bang me. And as a horse,
Your
and
Vosh
this
impression is
well-known.
not as good as I think you think it is.
No, it's not great.
I know. I hear the attempt. What's your best
I have a
impression?
degree
Oh, Vosh.
in sociology.
Does he?
Anyway.
What's your best impression? Can you do any good impressions?
Senator Paul, you don't know what you're talking about, okay?
Yeah, I have some good impressions. They're not for you though.
Okay.
Not for you. They're too good
It's
for
fine.
you.
I'll buy you dinner first. All right.
New rule. Everyone is retarded, okay?
Okay, wife chat.
I just realized all of my impressions have an okay, or maybe it's just those two. Yep. Yikes. I didn't know that was a thing, but Vosh is one of a kind. Yeah, right. When is the release schedule? I don't know, but they have been putting stuff out. It's not like they Uncensored America has been dead. They've been doing events. They've been putting stuff out. So I don't know. You would think that, with Andrew Wilson, they want to take their time with it, but also they want to get it. I don't know. It'll be out when it's out.
Jack meme. This is a serious, as you know, I'm very interested in memetics and the flow of ideas and all that.
That's an old meme now, dude.
It's an old meme, but this is, my criticism of you is I don't think I don't think your ideology, whatever your moderate dissident right stuff is, has the sufficient mechanisms within it to resist going too far right. And one example is the wife jack.
A white comedian from Long Island makes really offensive jokes, but is really woke too. No idea.
Meme. I love the wife jack meme. I think it's the
This comes up.
ideal
Let me back this up. We cut this up.
ideology, whatever your moderate dissident right stuff is, has the sufficient mechanisms within it to resist going too far right. And one example is the wife jack meme. I love the wife jack meme. I think it's the ideal low level, consistent, diffuse rejection of degeneracy by saying, oh, we're gonna just fucking sleep around, whatever, fucking do anything, blah, blah, all that different shit. It's like, no. It's like it's not my old ball and chain. It's the wife. Oh, it's my wife. There she is. It's classic wife. But it's fundamentally positive oriented.
I never even fucking understood what it meant.
Okay, let me ask you the question though.
Okay.
Wait, what meant?
Oriented.
I never even fucking understood what it meant.
Oh, they're still talking about the meme.
Let me ask you the question though.
So actually, let's. I want to look this up because I think I know the Wojak meme. What's the wife jack mean? Okay. Let's just peep a couple of these and see. Well, let's see if we can figure out what the fuck we're talking about here. Oh, really? Each one is its own page? What the fuck? I don't get it. I don't get it. What is the meme itself supposed to be? I don't get it. These are not making me laugh. All right, well, let's see what maybe they will say it. If you guys know what the fuck it is, I've never seen that before.
Positive oriented.
I never even fucking understood what it meant.
Okay, let me ask you the question though.
Okay.
The Groypers and Fuentes came out heavy against the wife jack meme, called it gay and shit and all that stuff.
Maybe it was.
I think. What's your opinion on it? Do you think it is?
Well, I never really got it. What was the point of it?
The point.
Oh, great. They're going to explain it because I have no idea either. And I would put all the money I own on the fact that Epstein is also still alive.
The point of it was just, it's a pro-social, just, it's the opposite of, it's the old ball and chain. It's like, oh, my wife, she's quirky and she always pauses the movie and asks what's going on. It's like, yeah, but I love my wife. So like, that's what I like about her. And
yeah, that does sound kind of
a positive.
Anthony Jeselnik, that's a good one. He's got to get that all the time. It's not like spot on, but I definitely see it. And just so you guys know, little pet peeve, when stuff like this comes up, the worst thing, like let's say I was John and I was like, oh, he looks like this person. The worst thing you could do is be like, I mean, I get his hair is different. No fucking shit. I didn't say they were fucking twins. I said they look like each other. But anyway. Yeah, they definitely look like each other.
This is a movie and that's what's going on. It's like, yeah, but I love my wife. So like, that's what I like about her. And
yeah, that does sound kind of
gay. It's a positive.
It does sound pretty gay, bro. I'm not going to lie. That does sound pretty bad. Like, it's the same old, isn't that the same fucking Simpsons thing where it's like, you're just reversing it now. You know what I mean? Oh, the woman's kind of like oafish and quirky and, you just like deal with her quirks because she's fucking, because she's still pretty awesome and blah. It's like, no, fuck that. No.
So TV is giving us the wife jack is a form of the Wojak, representing a stereotypical wife, often appearing as a meme alongside phrases attributed to married women. It's a lot of words. I mean, like I saw that much, but I mean, well, that's I guess the beauty of memes, right? Is that it's in the meme. You kind of gotta get it or you don't. And I'm not married, so maybe it's just too outside for me.
Like deal with her quirks because she's fucking, because she's still pretty awesome and blah. It's like, no, fuck that. No, fuck that. I want behavioral standards which are applied to women.
I'm nice to everybody who's not mean to me, right? I feel like it.
Where they're stupid fucking quirks, they don't get a pass on all their stupid fucking quirks, dude. Oh my God, I'm just quirky. I'm just quirky.
Here we go.
I said shit. Me too. Just don't wash it for like a week.
Get into before we get into metaphysics, we'll get to rhetoric. Okay.
We don't even have to get into it. Why do you want to get into metaphysics so bad?
Because
I'm studying Agrippa's trilemma.
Because I've destroyed you once, and I would like to do it again.
Oh,
Andrew Wilson destroyed. That should have been the title.
Okay, but hold on rhetoric. Mm-hmm. Again, you were talking to Stephen Crowder, and you said you started saying this gay shit. You're like, well, Socrates says rhetoric is whatever convinces people.
Yeah,
right. It's not logic. So we agree that logical argumentation alone is not a sufficient means by which to convince people. Rhetoric is important.
No, that's not true. Logic is a sufficient enough means to convince people. It's just
super free speech over there, right?
It's not a sufficient enough means to convince all people.
I don't miss Crowder. Number one, Crowder is still on YouTube. He just doesn't do the main show. And I'll take or I'll watch clips sometimes. But I said this before that it's just frustrating because it's like they stretch out a story, or let's say they stretch out a video. That's like, okay, this happened. Here's my opinion on it, and here's some jokes about it. That could be a 5-minute video. But it's a 9-minute video because they leave in all of them laughing at each other. And then someone will add on to the joke and then they'll laugh again. They're like, no, but it's like, like a thing. And it's just like, what? I'm not part of the joke. Can you guys joke about this after you tell me what the fuck is going on? So, I mean, you know, no shade to Crowder himself or the team, or just not my cup of tea. Not my cup of tea.
Enough means to convince people. It's just not a sufficient enough means to convince all people or even the majority of people.
Agreed. Yes, correct. Yeah, yes. Okay. Having a logically cohesive argument. If a weak ass beta male.
Well, this is where, you know, we're getting into free speech and all that stuff, and not over there. Not over there.
Okay.
Having a logically cohesive argument. If a weak ass beta male has a perfectly logical cohesive argument, he sounds like a fucking tool, and he's very weak and he's very insecure. It doesn't matter how logical his argument is. It's people will perceive that rightfully as pathetic and ignore him.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. Isn't that just tone? Isn't this what people criticize you for? You say it's tone policing, but how do you know that criticism of your rhetoric? Why you're confusing tone policing with criticism of your rhetoric?
Right. So what PF Jung here is saying is commonly people will respond to Andrew when he says a correct thing in a mean way. They'll tone police and be like, "Well, that's mean," or da 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 da. The reverse of that is if people are not getting the message that he wants to get out, then criticizing the way that he does that is not tone policing. It could be, or it could be legitimate criticism about, hey, you can reach more people by saying the same thing in this way.
You know that criticism of your rhetoric. Why you're confusing tone policing with criticism of your rhetoric, meaning.
Mm-hmm.
You obviously go very hard. You obviously go very hard a lot of the time.
This is a good point, but I'm going to turn it around on you in about 5 seconds.
Okay,
go ahead.
Well,
yeah, okay. Well, so what if they're only ever identifying one form of rhetoric, and the one form of rhetoric is things which they happen to find to be personally offensive? Then is it the case that they actually have a problem with the rhetoric, or they actually have trouble with the tone in which I'm saying the thing, because that's what offends them?
I don't understand.
Or is it that just cope to deal with the legitimate criticism, how you respond to the criticism that he just gave you?
No, okay, so let's take. Okay, I'll explain.
You get my point, though, right?
Let's take. Well, no, not really.
Because you always say make an argument, logical argument. But then it's like, but you acknowledge that calling fucking women bitches and shit turns women off.
Yeah, okay, but okay. Well, not always. It doesn't, though. So
correct. Yes, some of the autistic
most of the time.
Sure.
Like it depends on how you say it. Yeah,
most of the time.
I'm going to explain.
Okay.
So if I say to a woman, "Oh my God, you're being such an insufferable bitch," right? Oftentimes you'll get a giggle or a laugh out of them.
Yeah,
but if you say, "You're being a fucking insufferable bitch," suddenly, it's too fucking far. So how is it that the rhetoric is the problem? They're really not pointing at the rhetoric. They're pointing at something else.
I guess But that's not addressing his question, because as he said, there could be tone policing and there could be criticism of the rhetoric, and you're conflating the two. So in this moment, you are choosing to focus on that which you know is just tone policing. And the question is not about that. The question is about the other the other criticisms that are legitimate criticism that you just brush off as tone policing. Yeah, Dave's chill dude. Again, I never really liked him as like a comedian or a political pundit, but I thought he was a good dude, and I think we covered that. I think we covered that, right? When Dave Landau went on Michael Malice. Yeah, that was like a year ago, bro. That was like a year ago. Yeah, a lot of people love him. I mean, again, I have nothing against him, but just the association with Crowder, you know, kind of in my mind is like, okay, I'm not going to get much from this. It's going to be a lot of laughing at themselves and fart sniffing and you know, whatever.
Is it that the rhetoric is the problem? They're really not pointing at the rhetoric. They're pointing at something else, I guess which is the tone. They're pointing at the fucking tone.
Sure, I'm putting tone under the subcategory of rhetoric, but I'm speaking rhetoric more broadly. Like, sure, like you sure. Let me ask you a question. If you take 100, we agree that the woke left ideology has infested our culture to the degree where it's, I would say it's
thanks to centrist. Yes. Go ahead.
I will allow that transgression to pass.
Yeah.
But you notice what just happened. So when we're all our discussions about the woke right, we talk about how the woke right is an overreaction, the pendulum swinging too far in the other direction, right? So we have the woke right, and then what did he just said?
In our culture to the degree where it's, I would say it's
thanks to
So infested our culture to the degree that it's bad or whatever.
Left ideology has infested our culture to the degree where it's, I would say it's
thanks to centrists, yes.
Thanks to centrists. So because you aren't, completely on the far right, that gives credence to what is on the left. Except there is credence to certain things on the left, not from the Democratic Party establishment itself, but ideas that, whatever, pick whatever topic you want. That is precisely, I'm not calling Andrew woke. I'm just saying that is how wokeness can manifest on the right, where we're saying that we're going to go overboard to make up for what it was, instead of just do the right thing because we know it's the right thing. We have to just Ibram X. Kendi said the only remedy to past discrimination is present and future discrimination. And Andrew's taking a similar type of mentality where because you didn't go as hard as us, then you let the people who we all disagree with win, which is not untrue, but you don't get to cede ground in culture just because you like it. You have to earn it. So because he's more centrist, he has more whatever, let's call it more centrist ideas. Andrew is blaming him for feminism being so popular. Whereas if your ideology is so strong, then it shouldn't matter what the centrists say, because one, there shouldn't be that many of them, and two, your ideology should be a lot stronger. Gotta catch these things. Hey, shout out to Madness. Welcome to the party. Said hosting a legal seminar. Looking forward to following up on our AI lawyer conversation from last week. Yeah, that was an interesting one. Guys, if you are, Madness joined the free Discord and he got his free day pass. We were hanging out. We had a very interesting conversation. So come on and join. Welcome, Madness, to the party. Jot said the new woke are conservatives understanding the lies of progressive liberal elite. It's not framed in this way, though. The new woke are the conservatives understanding the lies of the progressive liberal elite? I would say the opposite. I would say the understanding how to use the lies of the progressive liberal elite, maybe. But same shit, different direction. Same shit, different direction. Buck said, woke is a word like chalk. Word is a word like a chalk outline of a dead man. And I refuse to just lie in the chalk outline. It's bad language. Yep, I agree with you. What were we just covering yesterday when somebody was talking about how I forget exactly what it was, but they brought up how like the meme right is the woke right is a bad term. And I was saying how me and Guamtech, we were trying to push the meme right, the trans conservatives. I forget what brought that up, but somebody just yesterday was talking about it. I think it might have been James Lindsay.
Infested our culture to the degree where it's, I would say it's
thanks to centrists. Yes. Go ahead.
I will allow that transgression to pass.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But
a little well poisoning.
yeah, that's fine.
A little well poisoning.
Well, the woke that woke used to mean when it meant be aware, as in red pilled. Woke and red pilled are supposed to mean the same thing. They're supposed to mean the same thing. The problem is the way that slang gets watered down. So being aware of what is around you is always a good thing. The word itself is what has changed.
I've long been since immune to your toxins. I regard a lot of women as victims of what you might call feminist ideology. You see it all the time, where it's like a woman's like 35 or 40 and she's crying because she can't have kids, and it's like, I was lied to. I was told if I get a career, all this stuff. And I don't think they're some of them are obviously faking it, but I think the majority of women who feel that way genuinely do feel it, and they genuinely feel like they were lied to. So I regard women as, in some sense, many of them being victims of this degenerate ideology that says,
I just put up a poll. Do you agree or disagree? Are the majority of women victims of feminism? Yes or no? So, Box, this is what it used to mean. But again, language is what people use it. And that's not how people use it anymore. So, no.
Yeah, go fuck around just as much as men do and go make money and put off having a family and all that stuff. Like that's bad, not just for men, it's bad for women. And so I see them in some sense as victims of that. The average, let's say you take 100. You take 100 women who are of that ideology, who are not like super.
Hey, that darn kitty. When we do a collab, we will talk all about it. I can nail it down for you. That same SJW energy just going in the other direction. Shout out to that darn kitty.
The average, let's say you take 100. You take 100 women who are of that ideology, who are not like super, purple hair out protesting, but are like, yeah, I consider myself a feminist, like kind of. What out of 100, if I show them a random Andrew Wilson clip from a Piers Morgan interview, what percentage of those women do you think would immediately just go, fuck you, fuck this guy?
So we're not talking about the rabid blue, purple, pink-haired feminist. We're talking about an average chick that just is like, yeah, feminism, I think is, it's about women and women's rights. And yeah, I'm in that. And the question is, if we're specifically looking at Piers Morgan, a Piers Morgan clip of Andrew Wilson, what percentage of those women are immediately going to go, fuck you, based off the way that he is talking? TV said 80%. It's definitely gonna be high. It's definitely gonna be high. Holly said, personally, I've never felt a kinship with feminists. They all seem batshit crazy to me. Hard pass for this girl. I'm anti-feminist at this point. There ya go. There ya go. Get some numbers, guys. What percentage of of women watching a clip of Andrew Wilson on Piers Morgan would immediately say, fuck this dude? I stopped messing with women's rights after my first 2 kids. You say that as if we know what happened with your first 2 kids.
Across which age brackets?
Let's say 18 to 30.
Okay, so 18, 30, normie girl, not super hardcore. What percentage of 18 to 30-year-old women who identify as feminists, only if you ask them, would say, fuck you, by just a clip of Andrew Wilson on Piers Morgan?
I think that they would respond to that pretty well. 18 to 30. Yeah.
You think
if you said 18, if you said 18 to 26 or 24, I think they would respond poorly to it. Once we get into the 30s.
Okay, fair. The point he's trying to make is that, as women hit the wall, then, they start to see the value in what he's saying. But you would then have to say that the plurality of women over 24, 26 would have to like it. Because if you're saying 18 to 24 is negative, but adding in 4 more years makes it positive, then the positivity from the 24 to 30 would have to be so high that it flips the 18 to 24-year-olds. So, I think he's playing around. The math ain't mathin', So I was raised as a defective male, therefore everything makes stupid sense. Except that sentence, but fair enough. Locke said, I'm pro men's rights. I'm a man. It only makes sense. I think we can all get along famously if we just fixed family courts.
Bingo.
Yep. Children's rights as well. Society should revolve around children. And Holly co-signing both. Locke said, how many feminists does it take to screw in a light bulb? This better be good. This better be good.
Pretty well. 18 to 30. Yeah.
You think
if you said
average?
18, if you said 18 to 26 or 24, I think they would respond poorly to it. Once we get into the 30s, 40s, 50s.
Okay.
10, 1 to screw in the bulb, and 9 to make a support group for the survivors of darkness. All right. And boom goes the dynamite.
24, I think they would respond poorly to it. Once we get into the 30s, 40s, 50s,
Okay.
I think that they would respond pretty well to it.
Disagree.
Okay. We don't know. I get your point. As women get older and realize, oh fuck, I was lied to by this ideology, then I think they'd be more sympathetic to
Lied
stuff.
to themselves.
My point is,
They lied to themselves. Well, here's the thing. I reject the categorization that these women.
Right, but that's kind of what the question is that you were taking in things. You didn't just make women didn't just make up, especially women today. When you were a young girl, you didn't make up these feminist ideals and be like, I'm going to follow them randomly. Somebody told them to you, and you internalized them. And so I agree with you guys that the majority of women, not all women, some of them, lean into it and use it as a weapon at any time they can. But I think the ones that just they don't know any better. They think that there's just men everywhere that are tall and rich and attractive and nice and want to be the perfect husband and father, and they're whatever bullshit. I don't know what the fuck they think, but it's bullshit.
My point is,
they lied to themselves. Well, here's the thing. I reject the categorization that these women are victims. So I'll give you, and just to throw this back in your face, you have been at the forefront of battling trans ideology for a long time. I followed your career very closely because we started out in the streaming world kind of at the same time in many ways. So of course, I'm always looking in on you fucking peasants to see how you're doing, right? Okay. And I've always thought that your kind of battle against the degenerate trans ideology was good. But the thing is like, you make this point yourself. It's self-delusion. And you say this all the time, self-delusion, and it's replicating self-delusion. So this becomes the question. The question is, when does it become your responsibility to shrug off poisonous ideology? When? Because the thing is like,
I think those are mutually exclusive. I think those are absolutely different things. Because one, not being victimized by feminism is a different thing than realizing you've been victimized by feminism and changing your behavior to not lean into it. Those are two different things.
Ability to shrug off poisonous ideology. When? Because the thing is like, what I think when you say victimhood is it gives them a pass. It gives these women a cultural pass to say, all of the bad behavior that I did was completely justified because I had been lied to.
Do you think
but they were lied to? Now, I agree that at a certain point, you being lied to is not an excuse for bad behavior. I agree with that. But you're trying to skip over that part and say, have your cake and eat it too. Either they were lied to or they weren't. We all agree that feminism is cancer. You're right there. Oh, he's getting so old. Did you guys see? He tried to jump up in the chair and he didn't make it. My little buddy, he's so old. But yeah, and yeah, John said the outcomes speak for themselves. And yeah, that's a really good point, because why would women want to screw up their lives? They don't want to screw up their lives. They just don't realize that they are screwing up their lives. And so the question that he's bringing up is a valid question. At what point is it your responsibility to stop ruining your life with these decisions and this mentality? But that is a different thing than saying that you are a victim having had these ideas pushed into your head. Raging against reality is just a waste of time. Absolutely. Nick said, my mom's not into letting women off so easily. So she has said that women invading all men's sports clubs, etc., makes it their own fault that now men are winning in all women's sports. And I mean, you can look at it that way, and sure, that's not untrue in any way. But the high school girl who is now competing against a male has nothing to do with the women letting men do this, that, whatever, or trying to push feminism. And that's kind of what I'm getting at, is that both things can be true. They're not mutually exclusive. He said, what amount money, English, please? Feminism is cancer for sure. Yup.
Bad behavior that I did was, it gives these women a cultural pass to say, all of the bad behavior that I did was completely justified because I had been lied to.
Do you think?
And isn't it convenient that now when I hit the age where I really want to settle down with an Omega Chad, right? Listen, I'm not like that anymore. I was lied to.
And I'm not saying that you as a man should accept that as an excuse. But that doesn't mean it didn't happen. That doesn't mean that's not how shit played out. It's not my problem that you were lied to and then followed those lies for 35 years. That's not my problem. That doesn't mean it didn't happen. And I think that is important to point out. Shout out to Equality and Deference because vagina over on Rumble. Welcome. Said liked and share. Guys, you know how much that stuff really, really does help. So please do hit that like button and share the video. Even if you don't think anybody is going to click on the link, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Just by you telling YouTube, I want more people to see this, they will show this to more people. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and welcome to the party. Paulie said, amazing how women are fierce and brave and totally amazing, but also perpetual victims. That's feminism. That's the lie of feminism.
Chad, right? Listen, I'm not like that anymore. I was lied to.
I just have much more sympathy, I guess, than you do. Do you think men are victims of a lot of the modern culture?
Yes,
okay,
mostly from women.
And do you think that calling men victims then empowers them to justify their own failings that they actually could control?
No. There's a distinction here. Men are actual victims because of the single motherhood epidemic. We can point to the actual thing that they were the victims of, which is women. They were the victims of women who decided that they were going to be fucking empowered by embracing single motherhood, not because of anything other than I had irreconcilable differences with my actually pretty good husband.
Correct. But the woman who does that is not the same person as the 16-year-old girl who has seen all of that and is starting to get into the dating world and is operating on what she understands to be the way that you're supposed to date. It's not an excuse for her. It's an understanding of the actual situation. So the guy with the car and that building, brother, I don't know what you're talking about, man. What guy with what car and what building?
Okay, who I just decided to get rid of because I wanted to fuck Chad down the street.
Okay, what about the men who are not the products of single motherhood?
Most of those men are very stable, and most of those men are already on the right. They're already fighting it out. Yes, it is true. If you look at conservative ideology, a good indicator is an intact family. If you have a nuclear intact family, the chances that you as a male are going to be on the conservative, the right side, the good side, is already much higher. If you come from a single mom, though, guess what? Your chances of being some overly fucking empathetic retard who is easily malleable and manipulated is significantly higher. I can literally trace the actual victimhood back to its source, which is fucking women. Now, here's the interesting thing.
But it's so you can see BF Jung be like, oh my God. Why? Because this is the same type of rhetoric that feminists use and say, men this, men that, men are in power. Bitch, I ain't in power of shit. I ain't in power of shit. How is this not the same thing? I mean, okay, maybe Andrew Wilson is the woke right. I don't know. Well, I said countless men getting divorce raped or falsely accused. Yup. I said I had my. What are you fucking talking about? John, we can say kill here. Should we kill foster kids because their lives are probably going to suck and they are funded by tax money? No. Agreed. I'm going to assume you guys are talking to each other.
Actual victimhood back to its source, which is fucking women. Now, here's the interesting thing. I'll give you the more proof on this. Because if we trace it back to single fathers, guess what? The outcomes are damn near just
what about
as good.
Absent fathers?
Even if you're with a single father who's absent most of the time, your outcomes are still almost as good.
I was just curious to hear what you would say if I said that you understand the point I was making of logical argumentation is not enough. Because often you say, make an argument, you can't respond.
This guy in my chat is spurging out, Andrew's a terrible representation of orthodoxy. Listen, chatter, I just want to make it clear that you can go fuck yourself and tell your priest, I told you you can go fuck yourself. Go tell your priest, be like, Andrew Wilson on the internet told me to go fuck myself.
And even said my dad always used to say that he was fighting the man, and then one day he realized he was the man. That's getting older. Well, if you're successful. If you're a loser, then you ain't never going to be the man. But eventually.
You know what? Because in his head, he's going to be like, you shouldn't have said that. And then you're going to turn around and he's going to be like, that insufferable fuck. That insufferable. I know what's going to happen, bro. But
hey, shout out to Lockmark. Welcome to the party. Said I can't stand feminism. It's a huge mistake to society. Absolutely. Very, very true. Welcome to the party. We did do that? Okay, we did do that. We just had our running poll. Are the majority of women victims of feminism? Yes or no? What do you think, Blackbar? So I was asking, what does spurging mean? Basically spazzing out. So he likes to use that as a debate tactic when someone gets triggered on the other side. He's like, "You're spurging out. You're spurging out." And now they're talking about the Jews people. He's saying Jew spurging, and I am stealing it.
Said that, and then you're gonna turn around and he's gonna be like, "That insufferable fuck. That insufferable." I know what's gonna happen, bro. But anyway, go ahead.
You know what's funny? So I have to find a way to articulate this. The meta meme is usually what I call it. But basically, to the degree that you align yourself with the truth, which you absolutely do, align yourself with love and empathy, less so than others.
I'm a very empathetic person.
I know, that's why you have tolerance.
Are you
For me, who you regard as the kind of person having empathy is having weakness, while enabling women to call themselves.
Look, the problem with this mindset is like, a motherfucker, okay, a guy will have a knife, or a woman will have a knife, and they'll be like, "I'm going to stab myself right in the throat." And I'll walk over, knock the knife out of her hand, punch her in the mouth. Yeah, how could you be so mean? why don't you have any empathy, Andrew? And I'm like, no, it's the most empathetic thing I was going to say
to the chat.
I mean, I don't know what you've done on the internet that can compare to knocking a knife out of somebody's hand who's about to stab themselves in the face. But hey, whatever floats your boat. Context said, feminists, the cause of an apparent solution to all current problems. Apparent is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Matter's point. One good thing I think that one inadvertent, maybe, let's say, although maybe I think you do this, I think unconsciously you do this on purpose. I think, and I'm sure you got emails and comments all the time. It's got to be upwards of hundreds, if not thousands, of people have probably started going to Eastern Orthodox churches because of you, right?
Yeah, thousands. Yeah.
Yeah, and how many of them are still going to be there in 10 years?
Yeah, thousands. Okay, here's what I think. I think that a lot of young men, probably, I would assume most of them are young men, watch you. They admire the strength that you possess.
Mostly it's married men who are in their 30s who watch me, just so you know.
Okay.
And those are usually the people who are going into the Orthodox churches. By the way, also.
Okay.
Yep. Married men bring their whole family. Yep. Married
men are sitting watching in those whatever episodes. I think. Yeah. I won't even get into them.
You know why? Their wives love that shit.
I can imagine
it's the wives that turn them on. They're like, look.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, that makes a lot of sense. I could definitely see being a married woman and want to see all the other whores. Like, oh, I got one. That makes so much sense to me. Well, next said, do you think Andrew's ever actually been in a fight? Other than with his wife? Probably not, but John says Spurg, who is Jewish, or someone who spurgs, but yeah. So Jew spurging is doing the Jews. You damn said too much. No, but so if you are Jewish and you are a spurg, then you wouldn't be a Jewsburg. A Jewsburg would be somebody who is just obsessed with saying the Jews run everything or whatever, or evil. Quality said women are victims of their own decisions. If they are too fucking stupid to be held accountable for their own decisions, then they shouldn't be making their own decisions. And I think that is definitely fair. The point here is that P.F. Jung brought up the question of whether or not women are victims of this ideology. And then in the next breath, Andrew was saying no, because they've made decisions. And I'm saying that those are mutually exclusive things. That it doesn't mean that because you are making your own bad decisions, that you're not a victim of something else. And I think women are making these bad decisions because of feminist indoctrination.
Look at these fucking crazy ass women. Not kidding. It's
like,
I turn them on. Then and then I watched it and I was like, holy shit, this is fucking wild.
The point I was making is that I think a lot of those men will go into the Eastern Orthodox Church thinking it's going to be a bit more fire and brimstone, your style. And then they get there and they're like, oh, fuck, this involves like service and praying and like, actually doing
the opposite
stuff.
Because
and,
when I say,
but then that's good in the long run. You were the gateway drug that brought them into the church, and then they realized, oh, well, Eastern Orthodoxy isn't about shitting on women. It's about actually, loving women and loving God and all that. And so in your own,
I will definitely concede that I'm sure there is a good number of people who were probably, very, let's say, Andrew Tate-esque, who started watching The Crucible and then went to church and are probably living their lives better. I would definitely attest that that's probably the case. That being said, that doesn't mean that is the best way to do it. And so I think Andrew's probably a net positive for society. There's just still a lot of other stuff, Yep, the feminazis. Religion is still the poo-poo. Yep. Quality said, so you can be held accountable, but also be a victim to a degree for being indoctrinated. Yep, exactly. So like let's take it outside. Let's take it in like a criminal case. Like, let's say, actually, I should have done this. I don't have a good example already. But yeah, exactly. That there could be something that's causing you to make bad decisions. And those decisions are yours. And you have to be accountable to those decisions. But we can still understand that while that is happening, then you are a victim in your own way. And, there's also being a victim of being a victim of your own stupidity. That definitely exists. Nick, I don't think it's you, but some of these feminazis, definitely. Box said religion is a poor substitute for an actual society. I disagree with the wording because I don't think religion is a substitute for an actual society. I don't think that is the claim or I don't think well, maybe what do you mean by this? How is it a substitute for society if it is just something that exists within a society? I said women need to take accountability for their own choices and actions. That's called being an adult. They're only victims of their own poor choices, so own that rather than play the victim card. Right. So I just want to make clear, I'm not saying that they don't need to take accountability. I'm saying both things are true, just so we are clear.
Inadvertent way, through your twisted works, you're actually potentially helping a lot of young men get to an Eastern Orthodox, because surely you would agree you're not a very pastorally inclined Eastern Orthodox person.
I have made this abundantly clear that I do not run an Orthodox channel. I don't make Orthodox content.
Okay.
I happen to be an entertainer who also happens to be Orthodox.
There you go.
Just like I've moved away from trying to be an atheist creator, and I'm more of a political creator who happens to be an atheist.
Excellent.
So that is the case.
So you agree it's far better for
what happens.
Okay, so Quality has a good example here. You were raised in a cult religion. The cult told you to kill somebody. You killed said someone. So one can at least potentially say the killer wasn't fully culpable, as an example. Absolutely. So if you think that, let's go and we can use feminism. When the feminists kill their babies, they are victims in that situation as well as being horrible murderers. Both things can be true at the same time because they think that they're just going through a procedure that's just a clump of cells. That's what they've been indoctrinated with. So at a certain point, yes, it is incumbent upon that woman to learn about what the process of abortion actually is. Then it's not just a clump of cells. But there are scholars at every level that that will say no, it is not killing. So at what point is the responsibility there? Exactly. We are all a clump of cells. Everything is a clump of cells.
To be Orthodox.
There you go. Excellent.
So that is the case.
So you agree it's far better.
But what happens is this. What I tell men in general is that when you go to the church, you should put yourself in their service. Put yourself in their service, meaning your whole job is the contribution to the community of the church. That's what your entire job is.
Amen.
Not to go in to listen to your priest dunk on fucking women. That's insane, bro. Like that.
So don't you think that we could get a lot more people to understand that stuff about community and service and duty and all that if we didn't have to filter it through Eastern Orthodox Christianity? Like clearly there, he's got a huge audience. Clearly there are, like I said, I would put money on the fact that what they're talking about actually happens, that people have gone in, expecting, based base stuff, and go in, it's just normal church, and they're just like, oh, okay, this is cool. Definitely agree that happens. Would it not be way easier if you could do that without having to go through religion? TV Viewerski co-sponsor. Thank you so very, very much. You have a good one. Bugs and I'm pro-service. You don't need a death cult to do it. Bingo. Exactly. The problem is that you do need something to do it. When we're talking about society, maybe you and I don't need a death cult to do it, and maybe nobody needs a death cult to do it. But overall, the reason that I personally have moved away from, or not even moved away, just completely disagree with the notion that secular humanism is better than better for society than Christianity, has nothing to do with the truth claims. It has to do with the reasons people do what is right or not right. And exactly, secular humanism doesn't have any incentives. It's if you already want to be a good person, here's how you do it. But most people don't really give a shit about that, which is why so many atheists are pieces of shit. Like I said, Christianity, Islam, Judaism, all death cults, aka you get the prizes after you pass. Yep, life is not a waiting room.
To go in to listen to your priest dunk on fucking women. That's insane, bro. Like, that's the opposite of what I would tell people.
See, this is why, like I said, when they bring me on Piers Morgan to condemn you, the only thing I will condemn you for is your aesthetic, your terrible fictional tastes. Because I 100% believe that you are, and I think you are bringing a lot of people into the Eastern Orthodox Church and then making them better for it.
And again, I will totally concede that. And guys, remember, we $28 to the stream goal, or if we hit 15 supers at any number, and since we hit the goal last time, we've now upped it to 15. If we want to keep going, if we want to bulk me up, we got to keep hitting that goal. Let's do it.
I 100% believe that you are, and I think you are bringing a lot of people into the Eastern Orthodox Church and then making them better for it.
By the way, that's a side effect. That was not
of course.
The goal.
But side effect. I'm sure it's a side effect that you're very happy about.
I'm very happy about it. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair. If he's saying that wasn't the goal, that's just a side effect. Fair enough. That if you then have a goal of getting people to come from this, again, we'll say broadly, this side of the internet, and then start being better people, I still think not having to filter through religion, specifically a specific type of Christianity that not a lot of people follow, might be better.
And may they go on to be much finer Christians than I could ever be.
Oh,
but here's the thing.
Low bar, Andrew. You're really helping them out there.
Let me tell you something, though. Here's a big problem that people don't recognize, and you're probably not going to like to hear it. And a bunch of the fucking pseudo-intellectual, oh my God, the Bible beaters, they're not going to really understand it. And a lot of the pious signalers, they're not going to really understand it. Right. But this is the fact. The fact of the matter is that the Roman Catholic Church and Protestant Church have political arms which are super effective. We're full of guys who, man, you wouldn't know they were Christian to look at them, but they're very effective politically. Right. Because that's the atmosphere of politics that we're engaged in. And it's like, look, I have always said I would much rather represent a political arm, move into a political arm, which the Orthodox desperately need. They just don't know they need it yet, but they desperately need it because they're going to start attacking the church in a big way. The Orthodox Church is going to be in the next 5 years under the greatest attack in the United States over any other group. I promise.
Uh-oh. What do we got? What do we got from Guam Tech?
I should never do my husband's laundry because if I did, I would learn to hate him. There's a lot of things that I don't do for my husband.
Yeah, I'm her husband. Lucky guy. She loves me. As long as she's not doing anything for me, which apparently makes her hate me based on what she's told everybody in the world.
Did you know that people think that you're married to the most miserable, entitled woman on TikTok?
No, my wife is incredible and deletes most of those comments, so I don't know why anybody would think that. My wife she's loving.
Well, let me walk you through a couple of things.
He is a lineman, which is kind of like considered a first responder, meaning anytime there's bad weather, storms, power outages, he's gone.
That's right. I work as a lineman, 12-hour days. And I absolutely understand why it's so hard on her for me to work this grueling blue-collar job that's highly dangerous to provide for the family.
Why is that hard on her?
Oh, because she has to wait on me to finish my shift so I can get home and cook dinner for the family. she gets hungry.
Whenever I mention things my husband does in our house, like cooking dinner every single night or folding his own laundry, people like Andrew get very triggered.
I wish people like
And how is he equal when he cooks dinner every how is he equal when he cooks dinner every night? Seems like he does everything and you do nothing.
Andrew wouldn't send those comments in. They kind of get taken out on me because if I don't get dinner made on time, she expresses a lot of very caring emotion that happens to look exactly like resentment for some reason.
Does she ever cook?
Oh yeah, she cooks breakfast and lunch every day, so she carries more load in that department.
I don't cook dinner. He cooks dinner every single night. I do breakfast and lunch for us and our kids. I don't pack him a lunch. If he's hungry, he'll figure out what he's going to eat for lunch the same way that I do.
Wait, she makes breakfast.
Why would what are you doing? Why are you just pouring money? Obviously it's a skit, but you know, this is how people live. Why would you why? And I think honestly, the answer is because it's easier than getting a divorce. It's easier than getting a divorce.
I don't pack him a lunch. If he's hungry, he'll figure out what he's going to eat for lunch the same way that I do.
Wait, she makes breakfast and lunch for her and the kids, but deliberately won't make any for you?
Hey, dude, keep it down. She's inside. She might hear you. Now, if you'll excuse me, I got to hurry up and get inside and make dinner for everyone. Well, that didn't go so well. She's pretty mad. I'm an hour late getting home.
Why?
Well, I explained to her this afternoon at work I got electrocuted. Pretty severely, actually. But anyway, I couldn't stop the ambulance from taking me to the hospital like she tells me I have to do when this happens, so I won't be late getting home because I was unconscious. So she says I broke an agreement of ours, and she's pretty mad about it.
Well, you got electrocuted and we're in the hospital.
She didn't want to hear it. She just kept pointing out I'm always putting my needs ahead of hers, which means because I was late, she ended up having to make the kids dinner.
Well, at least you have dinner made for you.
Oh, she didn't make me any.
She didn't make enough for you?
Oh, well, there was enough, but she ended up throwing the rest away and reminding me I'm fully capable of making my own dinner, which I am. It's actually a little difficult with these bandages covering my severe.
The bandages! Oh my god. Next, I don't usually see any difference except internet rabbit holes. Is that what that is? Usually people who are religious or atheists are fairly equal in the ratios between good and bad. They just discriminate in different ways. Yup. Holly said, I'm not sure what that stuff is. I'm not going to put that up. So Holly said, that woman is either a rage baiter or just plain nuts. If it's true, my God, I feel sorry for her husband. She seems like a real bee. Yep. And from what I didn't follow that story as it was happening on TikTok, which is again why TikTok is just amazing because everybody's watching the same shit all the time. But it was a big story and a lot of people were talking about it. And it didn't seem to come out of like a fake skit. It seemed to be a normal page where she was just ranting and then she went with it. But you never really know. But the notion is basically, why does it matter? Why does it matter? It's demonstrating something that we recognize in real life. So let's just go with that. Quality said, the serve the church stuff I find kind of creepy. When I hear it, my mind translates the words into serve the priest class and give them your time, love, money, and butthole. Yep, I added the butthole part, but yeah. And dilly to Holly from Equality and Deference. I forgot to dilute that. All right. All right, let's finish this up.
Severe electrical burns from it's actually a little difficult with these bandages covering my severe electrical burns from today. It's also excruciatingly painful. Ugh, wounds open again, which is fine. I mean, she's already gone above and beyond today, being a mom, working full time.
She doesn't really work full time.
Oh, yes, she does. She says so all the time.
We both work full time.
Full time.
I did not get that.
Time work. She's a TikTok influencer with a medium-sized following, and she makes you do all the work around the house.
I mean, she spends a few minutes each day making videos.
Yeah, so he is a comedian. He's taking her supposedly real TikToks and making a joke out of this to create the skit. But the TikToks themselves, I believe, are genuine. One said, I've worked for families with families like this with massive undertones like this. It is a real thing. Oh yeah. Not fun. I got you, Quality. 2 minutes each day making videos I almost forgot to do it
Mostly
again. Nick.
belittling me, but it's the hours leading up to her anxiety-fueled empowerment lessons for women to the camera where the real work happens. She tells me that if she's bothered by having to do anything, then her head's not in it, and she just can't even. I got severely electrocuted
She
and
can't
almost died.
even.
Why do I have to be so selfish?
Despite you being the breadwinner, your wife is so aggressive about dividing up chores and keeping score.
Let me stop you right there. She doesn't keep score.
She literally uses a spreadsheet to keep score.
She's good at record keeping, that kind of thing.
Given that, does she at all take into account the vast amount of time and energy you spend every day at a dangerous job to bring home money as the breadwinner?
Earning money is the one thing we don't keep score on. We've decided kind of just doesn't count, I guess. It just plays into the unhealthy stereotypes of men and women from what she tells me. So, and plus, besides her working full time, she's a full-time mother of 4, and that counts for a lot.
Full-time mom.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I talk about paying $60,000 a year for childcare,
She brags about spending $60,000 a year for childcare, which you have to pay for.
Well,
The fact that there's this many videos, actually, no. It means it's either definitely fake or definitely real, which doesn't help us. But I remember this woman's face and a lot of people doing this, so I'm pretty sure it's real.
she has to take them to daycare every day, and that takes a lot of time as a dedicated mother.
every day when you drop off the kids at daycare, you ask me what they need in their backpacks.
Actually, it
Okay, yep, that's real. That's the one I saw. I saw that one. Okay, this is real.
sounds like you take the kids to daycare, not her.
What? Oh, wait. Well, I guess technically, but I mean, I got to get back in and apologize to her for being late. Well, give her a second apology. She didn't accept the first one.
Right. So now do you see why people think that you're married to the most miserable, entitled woman on TikTok?
Look, man, I'm just trying to get by here. She's
The
yelling
jump.
again.
The jump when
I'm just trying to get by here.
Wait. The jump when she starts talking.
Entitled woman on TikTok?
Look, man, I'm just trying to get by here. She's yelling again. She probably woke the kids up with that one. So I'll need to apologize for that too tomorrow.
Yeah, Chloe's like, we decided.
I should probably be making a video about how I screwed up tonight. Can't wait to see that one. The guys at work don't see it. She's a very loving woman.
Shout out to JP Sears. I'll drop the link if you guys want to check that out on your own time. Good side quest, sir. Thank you, Guam Tech. Let's jump right back in.
They need it because they're going to start attacking the church in a big way. The Orthodox Church is going to be, in the next 5 years, under the greatest attack in the United States over any other group. I promise. Promise that that's the case because it's growing. It'll become a threat to one thing: Protestant money. And that's why Protestants are going after the Roman Catholics, because they're starting to take a bunch of the money away as the RC church grows. So if the Orthodox Church grows and men are giving their money to the traditional churches, guess what the femoids who have infiltrated the Protestant churches are going to do?
None of this is going to matter. None of this is going to matter. As soon as the Islamists decide that it's time to do whatever they want to do, we again are all in the same boat. They see us as the secular world. Regardless of what church you go to, whether you don't go to church, whether you're a blue-haired atheist or otherwise, we are all part of the secular world. They all want us all to die.
Money to the traditional churches, guess what the femoids who have infiltrated the Protestant churches are going to do? They're going to name them heretics, public enemy number one, and they're going to try to politically persecute them.
Oh my!
And you know what? What you need is real mean bastards like me at the forefront of
So
that.
do you regard people like Stephen Wolfe or Andrew Isker or Doug Wilson as enemies to Christian nationalism, even though they call themselves Christian nationalists because they're Protestant?
No.
Go on.
Yeah, well, just the answer is no. Ultimately, the major thing is when you start moving away from the patriarchy of an ecclesiastical authority. There are Protestants who have traditions and do adhere to some kind of ecclesiastical authority where the men are still in charge. The problem is so many of the Protestant churches is not the case, and women are co-pastors and in charge of various things, and so are gays and everything else. They operate. Look at what happened with Trump. You go to Trump's inaugural speech. I mean, he's being inaugurated, and they put up an LGBTQ pastor to give him a rep. You know what I mean? Just to what? What was the point of that? The point of that was to say, we're not going to allow you traditionalists to have power. That's really what that was about. If you think that war is not coming to the gates of the traditional church, then I got to tell you, you're not very politically connected because it's fucking coming.
And how many people do you think? We were just talking about how a bunch of people probably went to these Orthodox churches because they're seeing the whatever podcast and Fresh and Fit or whatever, and they think it's going to be something, super beige. When this war starts happening, how much do you think those people are really going to care. It's very easy to be on board with something where you just go and sit and you're part of the club. When you actually have to stand up for something, how many people do you think are actually going to be there to do whatever it is that you think needs to be done? What is it? Really, Andrew? We're going to go all the way back to Protestants versus Catholics? What is this? The 1700s? Bit too traditional for me. Yup. And so we need to go back to men and women loving, respecting, and appreciating each other for our differences and similarities. We can complement each other so well when we're willing to. Absolutely. Hi, Morn. I know you're hungry. We're doing pretty well. But I don't know if we're going to hit the goal today. We will see. Well, so the church can't really do much politically. Depends. It depends. I think that is, it depends on the context, because that is very much not the case. I think the reason that, like specifically evangelical churches and the Republican Party is so closely together is because of that allyship. So it's definitely not as much as it used to be, but with this small resurgence, it might be something that, secular people might have to worry about, but only temporarily.
To the gates of the traditional church, then I got to tell you, you're not very politically connected. Because
it's not about the votes. It's about the influence. It's about the rhetoric and the propaganda and what the lobbyists and NGOs and politicians and the media, what they think you want to hear. And so maybe it's 25% vote right, 25 left, and 50% don't vote. But if that changes by the hand of somebody like the Crucible, where a lot more people are voting right because of the church, then the right becomes way more entrenched, and round and around and round and round we go. Very odd that you would say that the church doesn't really do much. Like, that's such what is the biggest group of people in the political realm other than Republican or Democrat? And even then, I think if you add up the numbers, there's probably a lot more Christians than anything else. Andrew be like, don't come at me with the new age 1950s talk. Give me that forming the colonies in the new world vibe. Right? Exactly.
that war is not coming to the gates of the traditional church, then I got to tell you, you're not very politically connected, because it's fucking coming.
Correct. But again, this is the fundamental flaw in Christian nationalism.
Right. But silent. Why are they silent? Because of the culture. What is the culture? Church good, atheism bad. That is the political power.
Fucking coming.
Correct. But again, this is the fundamental flaw in Christian nationalism. Partly why I pray to the God, the true God, not the beta. Well, I suppose maybe the God you believe in is the same God I believe in. We'll find out in the.
On that, I am agnostic. But Quality said the church can't do things directly politically, but they can certainly mobilize their cultists to vote in certain ways.
Bingo.
Exactly.
We'll find out in the end. I pray that you get your shit together and you bend the knee to Enlightened Centrism, because Christian nationalism will break apart if you cannot reconcile Eastern Orthodox.
There you go. Case and point. Case and point. So do we think that Holly is somebody who is not about family and community and grace and all of those things within Christianity? Or is it more reasonable that there's certain words that have big meanings attached to them, and using those words not in trying to reach people that already don't like those words, they're just going to tune you out. They're just going to tune you out.
Will break apart.
I told you like them.
If you cannot reconcile Eastern Orthodox, Catholic, and Protestant. Like how are you going to do that? That's what I understand.
That's the dumbest shit.
You can't, bro. You Yeah.
shit that I've ever heard. I can walk through. I can walk through this.
You've been on a lot of whatever episodes.
How did the
Andy. You've heard a lot
leftists
of dumber shit than
tell me,
that.
how did the leftists reconcile all their different little? There's communists and there's socialists, and then there's man. The ideologies
are we doing it?
Are so far in between. Tell me, PF, how is it that they're able to govern, even though it is the case that they're completely fractured? Can you explain that to me?
The time has come.
Yeah, let's do it.
For me to exercise judgment upon your movement.
Okay.
Andrew Wilson, your move.
He's gone Dark Brandon, guys. He's gone Dark Brandon.
Okay.
In case you missed it.
Andrew Wilson, your movement is based on a weak philosophical foundation called presuppositionalism. Lame. Fuck you. Hold on, I gotta. There we go.
So presuppositionalism, basically what he's referring to is that you presuppose that God exists and then you go from there.
You say that the reason that the leftists have no moral grounding is because it's ultimately based on preference, right? I prefer this. I prefer that. But it's not based on any ecclesiastical authority. It's not based on a higher order principle. It's not based on a logical axiom. Is that not a correct critique of the far left?
No, I'm actually fine just conceding to your point. Everything is just a matter of my preferences, just like yours.
You agree with that then?
Sure.
What do you mean, sure?
Sure.
Interesting. This is very different from other things you said.
Can you tell me why it is that I would be wrong then, seizing power under whatever authority I wanted?
I'm not saying you'd be wrong.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
saying,
nobody said you were wrong about anything yet. All that's been claimed is that you were presupposing that this God exists.
Then here's the thing.
I find it interesting.
Whatever the philosophical foundation,
I remember this part. And this is like, Andrew and I come to the same exact point, but from completely opposite perspectives. And I don't understand how more people don't see it my way. I think this is the part. The last time I teed something up, I was.
And here's the thing.
I find it interesting.
Whatever the philosophical foundation, whatever the philosophical foundation is,
so interesting,
in which I adhere to, I guess doesn't really matter if there's no objection to Christian seizing power, right?
I have seen 10,000 whatever clips of Andrew Wilson telling some bimbo, so it's just a preference. So it's just a preference. No, morality needs to be grounded in God. And then here I come. I turn the lights red and I ask, well, surely, Andrew, your number one criticism is that the left bases it on preferences. And you go,
well, no, that's my favorite. That's my favorite part of the left, because you always.
Is it too stupid to point out that you are doing the exact same thing that you accuse them of? Because that is what's happening.
No.
Yeah, I agree. He's hit or miss. He's got some great points, and he definitely is a good debater, but hit or miss. He's not nearly as cool as he thinks he is.
Oh, you always make this key failure of not following logically to the end. Let's just say for a second I'm wrong, and that all presuppositional argumentation is completely incorrect, and its foundations are nonsense. And
Jay Dyer is a little bitch, which is 100% true, an emotionally dysregulated bitch.
Let me give the argument. Okay. So we go ahead, we go through it, and we go, okay, it's all nonsense. This whole God thing, none of it's even real, none of it's true.
Yep.
So what? So then the objections then of basically destroying morality, which is what you're doing. What you're actually trying to do is you're trying to say there's no justification. You're trying to destroy the concept of morality itself as being objection.
Nope, because whether or not God exists is already established. We don't know if a God exists, but if morality does exist, then the learning that the existence of God, or rather there is no existence of God, doesn't change that morality, which is precisely the point of morality not being objective.
You do is you're trying to say there's no justification. You're trying to destroy the concept of morality itself as being objective. Okay, let's just say it's not. Then what the fuck could you ever object to if I said, well, then me and a bunch of guys who think like me, who came to the Christian worldview in a secular way, are just going to take fucking everything over?
So be it. So be it. That's fine. That's fine. You just don't get to force it top down.
Let's just say it's not. Then what the fuck could you ever object to if I said, well, then me and a bunch of guys who think like me, who came to the Christian worldview in a secular way, are just going to take fucking everything over?
Then you win. If you go through it in a secular way, then you win. That's why the presupposition that you're right is bullshit.
Yeah, What's the objection? What's the objection?
I'll tell you why. Because what people find compelling is, I would say, it's transjective. It's objective. Like the fact that someone likes vanilla over chocolate, that's an objective fact. Whether or not vanilla is better than chocolate is not objective. So if someone is going to make all the, well, morality is not objective. It's like, okay, yes, but people are still compelled by certain arguments and certain beliefs. So we can say that things, rhetoric, people find certain things more compelling than others that are objectively true.
I see. So if it were the case that all of Christianity were a lie, but I could package it in such a way where people adopted the value structure of Christianity and believed the lie as though it were true for the purpose of good results.
That would be fucking amazing. That is my fucking life goal, Andrew.
Your objection would be what?
Nothing. That would be the best of all worlds. That would be the best of all worlds. But the reason you won't go that way is because of presuppositionalism. You can't get past the presupposition that a God exists. So you can't get to this ethic in a secular manner. Otherwise, you would. I can. It's going to take me a few more years. I don't have it down yet. I can. And you know what? I'm sure he could too, but he's not trying because, well, no, I got God. Presuppositionalism is bullshit.
Christianity and believed the lie as though it were true for the purpose of good results. Your objection would be what?
Not at all. I go, welcome to Team Enlightened Centrism, Andrew.
Exactly. Welcome to the team. Believing in things because you have justification to believe in them. Not because, well, it'll be better if I believe this thing, whether it's true or not. Welcome to Enlightened Centrism.
Objection would be what?
Not at all. I go, welcome to Team Enlightened Centrism, Andrew. Welcome to philosophical pragmatism.
So then,
right,
then I can hold.
I can't debate.
Then wait a second. Then I can hold all of my crazy right-wing lunatic views
to the degree that it produces positive outcomes.
And as long as it creates positive outcomes for society, you're just gonna fucking go along with it, and I never have to justify a single one. Is that what you're saying?
Not only is that what I'm saying, Andrew, that's what I'm doing.
Yes, exactly. That's what we are saying and doing. And yet here we are, and the world has not fallen apart. And most of the people, at least in this country, do not actually believe in a God. So what is your argument? That, you know, the correlation with religiosity going down and degeneracy going up, I agree with that. But causation is not causation. Like I said, it's like thinking because things seem like they have designed with them. There must have been a designer. But if that's the case, where did the designer come from? That's the infinite regress. You can't get nothing from nothing except my special pleading for my God. Why?
Never have to justify a single one. Is that what you're saying?
Not only is that what I'm saying, Andrew, that's what I'm doing.
Perfect.
Right,
well, then perfect.
Why don't you do the same, Andrew? If your ideas and your ethic is so perfect, why hide behind the God? Why hide behind the God? As you said, you're not an Orthodox channel. You're a political channel who happens to be an Orthodox practicing person. So why is that such a big part of what you talk about if it doesn't need to be? Like I said, Andrew is now gaslighting, projecting, and using manipulative analogies. What was he projecting? Because, you know, I love to, well, maybe you're a little bit new, but I'll give it, fuck it. Projection. We always drink to projection. I didn't see it, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. Well, it said infinite regress is where I tap out. It is the ultimate agree to disagree. Yep. There's no, yeah. You either accept it or you don't accept it. That's where, you know, it begins and ends.
Not only is that what I'm saying, Andrew, that's what I'm doing.
Perfect.
Right now.
Well, then perfect. Then let me ask you a question. Who's popular in the field?
You should run for Congress. You should run for Congress. You're like Gavin Newsom level. Just like Charlie Kirk asked him straight up. You fucking went to French Laundry during COVID, and Gavin Newsom's like, I'm sorry, but let me. And it's like, wow, I just got wowed by Andrew Wilson's legendary wit and charm. You know, you're much.
So what we see is that one of the most religiously focused people in political talk on the internet understands that it is possible theoretically to get to the ethic of Christian, Orthodox, Eastern, whatever the fuck it is, through secular means. But he won't. Notice how none of his debates are ever, does God exist? All of the debates that Andrew Wilson does about religion are either about Christianity versus Islam, Christianity versus Christianity versus secular humanism. Because he can't answer this question. He can't answer this question. I said sometimes I think the movie Prometheus is based in truth. I think we were a huge mistake, and one day the overlords will come to fix that mistake. Hey. There's only one overlord. There's only one overlord, and he is right here. And he's hungry, guys. He's hungry. I said, I mean, we are the most fucked up species on the planet, hands down. I don't know about that. I mean, we can find, like, bears will eat you asshole first, and not in a good way. Madison, what's our subject of discussion? So they're really kind of just talking about, just kind of comparing ideologies. So we know that Andrew is, pretty far on the right. He's also very into the Christian Orthodox stuff. P.F. Jung is more agnostic, atheist. He is a centrist. He calls himself a centrist and is very open to more secular and left-wing ideas. That's about it.
I just got wowed by Andrew Wilson's legendary wit and charm. I would, in my opinion, you're far more compelling when you're not acting like a total fucking douche on Piers Morgan and calling women fat and Dunkin' Donutsy and stuff.
Did you laugh?
To be honest, I don't think so. I did laugh at something else you said. I forget what it was exactly.
Well, then I made you laugh, and you'll always remember that.
Well, of course, yeah. Of course. Do you agree that? Hold on. All right, hold on. Let's step 2 steps back.
I said, Mr. Morty can rule the world. And it's true, bears might be the biggest assholes. That's for sure. I don't know if that's for sure. I mean, monkeys will rip your face off. I'm just saying, compassion is not very plentiful in the animal kingdom.
Of course. Do you agree that? Hold on. All right, hold on. Let's step 2 steps back for a moment.
Okay.
So then you agree that philosophical pragmatism is an excellent philosophy.
Well, I mean, it's an excellent philosophy for guys like me to exploit. Yes.
That's fine. What is
because
the point of philosophy if it's not here to be exploited?
Well, sure. So as long as the point is that my viewpoint tops all other viewpoints for the purpose of Jesus Christ and his church to take over all of humanity, if I can utilize your philosophical pragmatism to show you why that's the most pragmatic approach in society, and you just go, sure, then sure, hold whatever stupid belief you want, because you're just going to come along for the ride, bro.
Right, but then it verifies that the belief is correct, that ultimately what we do is all based on preference and utility, which is true, and that's exactly how you act.
Yeah,
and so it's one thing to say, yeah, might makes right, and I'm part of the group that has the most might, and so therefore I'm right. You could say that, sure, great. But it doesn't make you correct. And some of us care about that.
But the thing is just like, if
you're admitting that it's true. You're admitting that everything is preference.
No, I'm only admitting that even if it were, right? It doesn't hurt my position at all.
Am I talking to Jordan Peterson? I'm not saying God is true. I act as if it's true. Oh my God, you're a philosophical pragmatist.
Well,
Look at that. Jordan Peterson has bled into you.
Let's separate two ideas.
Sure.
Is the idea that you want to talk to about political pragmatism, which is what you're talking about now, or are you trying to go down a line of philosophical argumentation to validate presuppositionalism? Which thing are you trying to do here?
Well, I'm not validating presupposition. I don't think presuppositionalism is very valid. It's good for it's a useful tool for dunking on low IQ.
Did you just presume that?
Yep. Nope. He has seen it happen. When it happens, oh, that's a good way to dunk on somebody.
It's good for it's a useful tool for dunking on low IQ.
Did you just presume that?
No, I observed it.
You observed.
There you go. There you go.
What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago.
Oh, I forgot to do the sipping noise.
It.
I know this is.
So I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's 2 ways we can do this
argument.
Hang on, we can do this one of 2 ways.
You're like Vosh Agua. Wait, water?
Yeah.
Or sorry, H2O is not what do you mean? What do you mean H2O? It's just a trick of. It's a
I'm just saying you can do this one of 2 ways, right? You can either go down the route of I want to go down the actual logic tree for presuppositional logic, or you can say, Andrew, I want to talk about the political philosophy of Christian nationalism and why it is that a centrist pragmatist like me is going to end up going along with whatever it is you fucking want anyway.
No, because you can't base your political ideology being Christian nationalism on Christianity without begging the question of, is Christianity true? You're trying to sidestep whether it's true or not.
It's like, it's totally up to
you
you.
know what? Actually, okay, let's no centrist, Andrew. Let's do both. Hold on. Actually, before I say anything, will you moderate a debate between me and Jay Dyer? Because I hate Jay Dyer, and I will debate. I can't debate you because you and I, we get along too famously. Okay, but Jay Dyer has the emotional IQ of a 3-year-old girl, and the intellectual IQ of I don't know, 190 probably, which is what makes him so creepy to watch.
If Jay Dyer wants to do it, he'll definitely come on the Crucible to do that debate. I think.
Well, he's a coward. No, he's a coward. He probably won't. He's a little bitch. He's a little bitch. He already blocked me once. I already asked him to.
Maybe you annoyed him.
I have no doubt. The truth. Yeah.
Guys, really quick, we did just pass the 2-hour mark, so please make sure if you want to keep the party raging, you know how to do it. Oh, what are we doing? If you guys, God damn it, are enjoying the show, the party rages on 24/7 over in our Discord. The link is pinned to the top of the chat and is absolutely free to join 24/7. We're in there hanging out, having a great time. And guys, it is absolutely free. However, if you are a member of this channel here on YouTube, you can scroll right below that video and hit that join button. Starts at $2.99. There's a few different tiers, but $2.99 will get you in. It gets you members only live streams here on YouTube, all that other good stuff. But it opens up the full Discord server. So we've got the free chat that is open to anyone. Anybody can join and talk. But as you can see, that is just one of our channels. There's a bunch of different channels here, including our Disciple chat for members only, our Word of the Day watch party, where we're talking about all this stuff. And of course, we have the voice channel here, where we are hanging out at this moment. Shout out to everybody in the Discord server. Say hello and tell them to come and join. There you go, guys. Simple as that. See you there. And of course, remember, guys, if you join the free chat, the link pinned at the top of the YouTube chat, it is absolutely free, and you get a day pass to the after party. So you will be able to join us as soon as we are done with the stream. We are headed over to the Discord for our after party. Come on through.
He blocked me once. He already blocked me once. I already asked him to.
Maybe you annoyed him.
I have no doubt. The truth often annoys 3-year-old little girls when you call them emotionally dysregulated.
Yep.
Anyway, because
that's a good thing to say about my friend. You know, he's a really super good man who's done a lot.
Don't pull the empathy bullshit on me, Andrew. Not now. Not at this point. It hurts your feelings.
My feelings. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, fuck your feelings, Andrew.
Well, see,
fuck
what
you,
about all that famous
empathy?
I thought I wasn't empathetic enough.
I've learned a lot from you, Andrew. Okay, actually, I think the conversation about pollution. All right, fine. My point. First off, once again, speaking to your incredible competence, you know that philosophical pragmatism is the correct perspective, which is what you've essentially conceded here.
I think it's I think that all philosophy is very useful for the exploitation of Christians to make sure that our agenda can get passed without ever even needing to bother to justify a single fucking thing.
Perfect.
We never even need. Imagine how awesome it is that Christians can believe 100%.
Yeah.
That there's whatever it is that you consider sky fairy nonsense. Yeah. And as long as we go, but when everybody believes like us, the world's a better place, and pragmatists are like, oh, great, well, then I guess people should believe like you.
No, we say, okay, then why? Why is that the case? Because of the values, not because of the truth claim. Listen again.
That whatever it is that you consider sky fairy nonsense.
So Christianity.
Yep. And as long as we go, but when everybody believes like us, the world's a better place.
Which I agree. If everybody, at least today, if everybody was atheists versus everybody being Christians, I think we would have a better society. I agree with you. But we're not there yet.
Sky fairy nonsense.
Yeah. I don't know why I said we're not there yet. That's not the point.
And as long as we go, but when everybody believes like us, the world's a better place, and pragmatists are like, oh, great, well, then I guess people should believe like you.
No. A pragmatist would ask why it is the case that when you believe X, it leads to a better society. And honestly, is believing in X, is that the best way to run a society? Again, I maintain that we don't know that humanity can't have a better moral view than Christianity. Something that would get us closer to whatever God you believe in. And you are actively choosing to say, I'm not going to go on that endeavor to try to get closer to God because we already have the answers. It's already done. We already did it.
everybody believes like us, the world's a better place. And pragmatists are like, oh, great. Well, then I guess people should believe like you. It's like the most exploitable ideology ever. I love that shit. What do you mean?
Andrew,
like, what do you mean? I love that shit. I think it's great.
Right. And now, yes. And not only do you think it's great.
Well, like secularists and atheists have gone out of their way to make sure.
Because it's true.
I don't believe it's true, but I mean, true. Well, no,
you don't believe it's true that it's great. You just said you love to exploit it for Christians.
I think it's great. I don't think it's true.
I know.
Oh, but that doesn't matter, right? Because as long as it's great, then it doesn't matter if it's true. I thought that's how we were operating. I thought that's your main argument. It doesn't matter if it's true or not. It's just better, therefore. But now
have gone out of their way to make
great
sure
because it's true.
I don't believe it's true, but I mean, true. Well, no,
you don't believe it's true that it's great. You just said you love to exploit it for Christians.
I think it's great. I don't think it's true.
I know.
Why does that matter? It matters to me. Why does that matter to you?
Oh, listen, only the top 10% of your audience now is in IQ is following along. That's fine. Let's get to the action. I
don't know why you would try to dunk on this audience. They would just have a field day with you, bro. I don't know. Like these are actually my audience is actually smart.
Are they Jay Dyer fans in your audience?
Yeah.
Well, when his bitch ass is willing to confront me on your channel, right? It doesn't have to come on mine. Your channel. I know you're a trustworthy moderator.
Yeah.
So you will allow me to.
Blood sport. Shout out to Matthew King. Welcome to the party that free will led people to evil. But even a lot of the most evil people put on a faithful front. And we let them get away with shit because they were one of us. Christians shot ourselves in the foot. Yup. And it's only gonna get worse. Think about this happening. Then add a bunch of Crucible fans in the equation. How do you think that's going to work out?
You execute Jay Dyer once and for all, rhetorically. And so if your fans think Jay Dyer is a worthy, emotionally regulated person, I pity them.
Yeah. So
let's get into the point about the political Christianity.
You could never in a million years beat Jay Dyer debate, bro. It's not even possible.
Well, in the same sense.
Well, now I want to see that. So let's go to the next chapter. They're just going about that. Blasphemy laws. All right, guys, this is going to get interesting. So, let's stick around.
Ordered.
Yeah, there's the only thing which can ultimately exist for the stability of a society long term. I think he's right.
He supports blasphemy laws. He supports censoring free speech under the name of blasphemy laws.
Mm-hmm.
If
that's because it's a cult.
That ever becomes a mainstream part of Christianity, or excuse me, Christian nationalism, I will reject it and turn on it and attempt to destroy it to the best of my ability, because free speech is prime. That's
so if a guy's going down the
ideas,
no.
Let's mark the principle. Yes,
we're going through this
in bad.
No, fuck that.
Regular porn, I'm okay with. I'm okay with banning regular porn.
So if a guy's riding down the street
naked
and he has the FM radio on, you don't think that the FCC should be allowed to say that you can't have like racial slurs bumping on?
So this is the same line of argumentation that Tim Pool uses. Well, you said free speech, so therefore you must mean the concept of absolutist free speech and not the law that we are talking about that has parameters. That's not what we mean. But, Andrew's Mr. Semantics, so I would I'd be like, okay, let me correct myself. The First Amendment. We're not talking about free speech. We're talking about the First Amendment.
Radio on. You don't think that the FCC should be allowed to say that you can't have like racial slurs bumping on an FM radio? You don't think that they should be allowed to censor any of that for the purpose of decency?
In that example, no.
Okay, so then
I do. I don't think that, you should just be able to say whatever, but I still believe in the First Amendment.
Why is it that they should be able to censor pornography on television?
Same reason. I'm being consistent. He's got a different thing here, so we'll see what he says. But so he said it's okay to have indecency. Let's say it. What we would all agree is indecent on the FM radio, but not P-Hub content on TV. And so for me, I'm okay with censoring both because I believe in the First Amendment. I don't believe in absolutist free speech. But he was okay with the words.
Censor pornography on television.
Wait, just regular porn?
Yeah.
Because that's not speech.
Why isn't it? It's freedom of
Because it's not words. See, now he's moving the goalpost. You were talking about free speech. If you want to include freedom of expression, that's a different thing than absolutist free speech.
Because that's not speech.
Why isn't it? It's freedom of expression, right?
Okay, here we go. This is your presuppositional nonsense.
This isn't presupping.
Hold on. Why isn't my
Don't
watch
ask me a question.
speech?
Answer
Why
my
isn't my
question.
watch speech? Because it's going to
ask
go, well,
a
how do you
question,
know
answer a
that? You
question.
have to abide by a first cause, first principle.
No, I'm not getting into first principles. I'm literally just asking for consistency.
Here's why.
If it is the case that the
It's
FCC,
self-evident. It's self-evident. The exchange
it's
of ideas-
axiomatically self-evident.
Right.
What's self-evident about that? European nations
What's self-evident about God, man? Come on.
You can't answer
have
that
corn
question.
playing. European nations have
Have
corn
what?
playing. European nations, you can watch softcore corn right on your television during daytime TV.
Okay, we're talking in principle right now. I don't care what other countries are doing. In principle.
Okay, in principle.
I believe that it is absolutely essential that people be allowed to exchange ideas. Okay.
Yeah.
Watching people have sex is not an exchange of ideas. Now you say, how do I know that? Exactly where do you draw the line?
Okay.
It's like,
I would disagree only in the most general sense that there is an exchange of an idea of ideas. I think it would be more of a parasocial dynamic where you are getting some type of expression from watching porn. Otherwise, what the fuck are you doing? If you're just watching it to watch it, then you're weird.
It's not an exchange of ideas. Now you say, how do I know that? Exactly where do you draw the line?
Okay.
It's like saying, what's the difference between the color blue and the color purple? Exactly where do you draw the line at when blue becomes purple? It's a continuum.
So as long as it's on the FM radio waves and they're just reading hard.
What was that? The F waves? Would you fucking find yourself on Reddit there, Andrew?
When blue becomes purple. It's a continuum.
So as long as it's on the FM radio waves and they're just reading hardcore corn, that's okay?
That's better than showing it, yeah.
Yeah, but it's
definitely better than showing it, and I'm still okay with that being censored on FM radio.
Okay, you wouldn't censor that?
I don't know. It's
you don't know.
It's
you
case
don't know.
by case. Yeah, it's case. Okay, hold on. Do you agree there's a difference between like nudity and art and then pornography?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Christian art that has nudity in it.
I just said yeah.
Okay, so how do you know exactly where the difference between art and pornography is?
The delineations and intent.
Go on.
That's it. The delineations and intent. When you're because you're trying to cite the Supreme Court when they're like,
yeah,
oh,
I
know it when I see it.
Correct.
That's actually was bad. It was actually a bad argument. The truth.
Who did I start? No, I forgot. But somebody said something about this before, and I was like, pay attention. It's gonna come up.
Like,
yeah,
oh, I know it when I see it.
Correct.
That's actually was bad. It was actually a bad argument. The truth is that we do know it, and we know it through intent.
Okay, that's my line. What did you? Right, fine. That's how I know to ban porn when it's intent to just fucking appeal to people's basest instincts.
Yeah, but so is music.
Got him. So now you're using this is a genius way that PF Jung has taken this conversation, because what happened is we were talking about free speech and whether he agrees with free speech, and then Andrew's asking, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? And so him not necessarily having this already thought out, like, okay, well, why is it what you think? And gets him to say, oh, it's about the intention. Okay, that's a good standard. I'll use that. I'll use that too. But that only can come from the humility of taking a step back and realizing I don't know exactly what to say here. That's a hungry dance, guys. That's a hungry dance. Come on, feed the hungry puppy. $1 will do it. But you have to have that humility to be able to realize you don't know what you're talking about. So take a step back and go down a different avenue.
Music does the same thing.
No, it doesn't.
Yes,
music,
it does.
I don't know how aroused you get when you listen to music.
Oh, okay. So you're driving down the street and you're bumping.
Mechanism.
You're bumping. Oh, I got my GAT, my AK. I'm gonna go kill all these N-words over here, and then I'm gonna go call these bitches over there.
Protected by free speech. Yes.
What's the intent there, though?
I would be totally fine with stuff like that not being allowed to be played on FM radio. I wouldn't want it banned from, like, you can't get it on Spotify, but I'm okay with that. Like, there's no reason to have that broadcasted by, I don't know. It just, why?
Bitches over there.
Protected by free speech, yes.
What's the intent there, though?
Nothing from Morty, guys.
Is there?
It's not.
Is there good
What's the
intent there, bro? Like,
We don't got 99 cents for this dog. He's gonna be dead soon.
what's the intent?
Doesn't matter what the intent is.
It doesn't matter. So why does it matter when it comes to nudity and corn?
For porn, that the intent matters. How do you
Why?
delineate between art and porn? I don't know. You tell me. I just asked you, and you said intent.
Because I don't have a problem with the regulation of speech. You do.
You don't
Why
have a
is it
problem with
that
the
if a
regulation.
chick-
Okay, I obviously have a problem with. No. hold
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Say it
So
again.
hang on.
What'd you say?
Listen, you have to stop cutting me off. Let me make the argument.
Shut the fuck up.
Here's the argument. You are the one who has trouble, who says, well, no, I'm an unlimited free speech guy. Okay. But
Not necessarily.
hang on. But I
See?
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? And when did I tell you? A long
The
time
semantic
ago.
obfuscation of moving the goalpost
Exactly what I
between the concept of the ability to speak without the government interference and unfettered free speech. Not the same thing. I'll say it when Tim says it, and I'll say it when Andrew Wilson says it.
want to ban, but I want to ban corn. It's like, okay. So what
Should I
happens
be
if
saying
these
corn?
two? What if these two people? Well, I mean, I don't care, right? I want to ban
Okay.
corn.
Okay.
I'm used. To
I genuinely don't
TikTok.
know.
I'm used to TikTok friendly language.
Yeah,
So
that's
anyway.
right. YT people.
Yeah,
I heard that earlier
so,
today.
So the thing is like, if it is the case that two people say, well, we're having a sexual display, which is art. It's art. You can't clearly delineate intent if they're saying that that's their intent, other
Okay.
than you actually know what their real intent is. And so you can
Okay.
make the regulation based on that, right? I would make the same argument for music or blasphemy. What is the intent of saying, fuck
Jesus?
yeah, exactly. What's the
Jesus was an
intent?
alcoholic virgin.
Yeah, what's the intent?
Why does it? Why does that matter?
Maybe if Christianity is used, maybe if
Maybe if Christianity is the dominant culture and it is oppressing certain people like gays and women, then there's a reason to criticize it.
What's the intent? Is there anything you're
I don't know,
doing
you're
there that
asking a
has a good
hypothetical.
intention? Is there anything good there that has
Yeah,
a
could
good
be.
intention?
Could be.
What?
Yes, to topple the stranglehold that religion has on society, and you may agree or disagree with that, but that is the intent.
What? What's good about you saying that?
the same thing of drawing cartoons about Muhammad.
Yeah,
To
what
say
about
fuck you to Islamism.
Mhm.
Yes.
And can you do that in Islam countries?
No, you get.
And that's a bad thing.
No,
for it.
no, you can't. Right?
Do you,
No, you
Do you
can't.
support that?
Well, I'm saying that if it is a case that
Do
they
you
can
support
govern-
what Islam did to Charlie Hebdo? Do you think that was
I
an
think-
acceptable?
It's funny how we are literally having the same conversation with Adam Conover and Tim going into, well, you're not for free speech unless you're going to say fuck Islam.
that I think that is
Response.
in Islamic nations, if you believe in the sovereignty of men, and those men have constructed that nation under Islam, then you're going to have to obey their laws. I
That's
don't
a
have to
different question.
agree. Hang
Okay,
on.
so you okay?
Bro, you got to let me answer the fucking question.
Oh, okay. We're in debate
agree?
mode now, Andrew.
Do I
Shut the fuck up.
do I agree though that you should be able to regulate again? No, but I'm following a different ethical system.
Why
They
don't
will
you
kill
agree?
you. Well, they will kill you for drawing the Prophet Muhammad.
Yeah.
Christians aren't going to kill you for blaspheming against Christ. You would get like a fine or some kind of like public
Okay.
decency charge or something.
This is Cope. So you're going to tell me that gay bashing is not a thing? You're going to tell me that gay bashing was not a thing? It absolutely was a thing. And it was not because of their fashion. It's because of religion.
Blaspheming against Christ. You would get like a fine or some kind of like public
Okay.
decency charge or
And then
something
what-
like that.
Oh, and then we're back to Jordan Peterson 16 all over again. Okay, so let's say I draw a picture of Jesus.
Mhm.
Um,
By the way, I'm not for blasphemy laws. I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
okay, well that's 12 minutes of my life that I just wasted.
More like 30 of ours, but I mean, hey, we got used to
Why
it.
are you not for that?
I've
Okay.
never been for blasphemy laws. I don't think that they're important. I think that ultimately, you stupid guarded pragmatists.
Why are you not for blasphemy laws? What would you tell Stephen Wolf?
Because I think ultimately, if you're going to try to regulate language like that, then you're going to eliminate the idea of discourse altogether.
Correct.
That's problematic. However, I don't think that if you outlaw nude displays of art, that you're going to eliminate discord. Or you're going to
I agree. That's why
you're going to
I could
eliminate
be.
discourse. Sorry, not discord.
Yeah, I agree. It's an easier line. Talking and exchanging ideas is categorically different than like nudity in any format. That's like a visual thing.
Well, I think that in
So
order
we
to
agree.
convince people who are blasphemers not to blaspheme, you might have to engage in their blasphemy. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
just in order to have
true.
discourse, I don't even think
Takes
it's
one.
possible.
Yeah, takes one to know one.
So I think ultimately, you may end up having to engage in their blasphemy in order to convince them. Now, but hang on. But I am going to give you the type of blasphemy laws I am okay with, right?
Okay.
So if states or local municipalities, just like they enact dry counties, things like that, if they have blue laws or blasphemy laws at the local level, I have no issues with that at all. No.
But neither they get what?
Now, but hang on. But I am going to give you the type of blasphemy laws I am okay with, right?
Okay.
So if states or local municipalities, just like they enact dry counties, things like that, if they have blue laws or blasphemy laws at the local level, I have no issues with that at all.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't have an issue with that either.
None.
What do you like? And what?
No, yeah, I do have an issue with that because let's say you live in the neighboring county. America's America, Jack. I completely understand the separation of powers and state and federal and county and all that stuff, but we have the Constitution for a reason.
What does that mean?
It means that if they have like noise ordinances, regulations, or you can't say swear words out in public, I think that those localized ordinances are fine.
I'm more sympathetic to that. Like, I don't want a bunch of Jewsburgs, let's say, people who complain about the Jews all the time, standing outside of an elementary school chanting "Death to Jews." Like, I don't.
Yeah,
it's protected free speech. Yeah, it's like I don't. I agree.
Yeah,
I don't know how exactly.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, that would be down a case by case. Fine, sure, but by and large, so your sympathy. So, because what I said to begin with was, if it ever became a main part of the Christian nationalist platform, let's say 5 to 10 years from now, your success continues to grow, and the Christian nationalist movement continues to ride on your coattails. Okay, and then
my coattails, no, not hardly, but
40% voting block. Yeah, 40% voting block now. It's like legitimately. And one of the Christian Nationalist Party's platform is blasphemy laws. Anyone who mocks Jesus Christ or whatever the fucking however the blasphemy laws are in Islam, the equivalent in Christianity or something like that. A blasphemy law like that Stephen Wolf would support. It's like, okay, if that was part of the platform, would you continue to support the platform, or would that be a fundamental like fuck this is too far?
I would probably support it still. Yeah.
Okay.
If it were fundamental to the platform, so here's why, right? It may be the case even that I might disagree that it might do more harm than good ultimately for bringing people over to the cause, right? If that could be a unifier between different Christian groups in order to kind of pass the agenda, I think I would be willing to, like, I don't see the great societal harm here in doing that, one. And two, if it would create unity, then yeah, I would be for that type of restriction. But I would also say that fundamentally, I don't think that that's ever going to be the case with Christian nationalism.
I hope not.
They're not moving. No, that's not really what it's moving towards. What they're moving towards the idea of regulation of human behavior, especially in the physical zones, mostly geared towards degeneracy and the idea of procreative marriage. That seems to be the primary feasible message of Christian ethics and the idea of Christian nationalism. Same thing with saying we're a sovereign nation, we can have our own borders, we reject the idea of unfettered immigration, various things like this seem to be all within the ethical purview. I haven't seen many people, and I did read what Wolf said on this, and this was a while ago when I ordered the book. I'll have to go refresh myself, but I think that he makes the same case that they're unnecessary, right? But ultimately, if it becomes a unifier, then he understands why, and he would likely support it. So
yeah, it's the founding father strategy with slavery. It's like, well, we really don't like it, but we kind of need everyone to stick together here.
Yeah.
And that's actually that's very well put from P.F. Jung there, and that is kind of, you know, if you guys saw my video that I put out yesterday, this is kind of in the same vein as you know,
your uncle.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of in the same vein as, like, you know, maybe not exactly the same as blasphemy laws and or excuse me, not the same as slavery and giving people slavery so that you can reach them. But I saw this video on TikTok. This guy is an atheist creator that I really do enjoy. I've talked to you guys about how he came up with this Klombadrov. And it's meant to mock Christianity and show how little sense it actually makes. And I think it's a really good mechanism. But this one, he was off the mark. And he's talking about, you know, his uncle dying. And that's what we're talking
about. Your uncle, but at least he's in a better place now. I mean, I wouldn't exactly call the ground a better
I'm a big fan of this page, and praise Klamadrop. I really do think you guys should go follow the page. But this is the side of atheism that I think gives us all a really bad name. I think, of course, it is frustrating when you've just lost somebody and you're grieving and you're going through all of that, and then somebody wants to come up and give you religious stuff. That's totally understandable that you'd be like, oh my God, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. But on the other side of that, we have to be understanding that people don't necessarily know that that's how you feel about things. And it's a very common thing to say, you know, your loved one's in a better place and you know, going to heaven and all that kind of stuff. So while I'm not discounting the frustration of being in that situation, or even in a much lower stakes situation, and someone saying, God will, you know, figure it out, or just pray, you need Jesus, or any of those things that are, again, really frustrating to hear. All it really does is show the false caricature and stereotype that atheists are angry people that are always just looking to fight about religion. I think if you're at your uncle's funeral and somebody comes up to you and says that they're in a better place, even though you don't believe that, the sentiment that is being expressed is, I'm sorry that you're feeling like this and I would like you to feel better. Should that mean that we shouldn't try to bring awareness to the fact that people like us may not receive that in the way that it's intended? Of course not. But in that moment, is that really the time to have a religious debate? Stands to reason for me that if in those situations we can be the ones that have grace and understand, okay, I'm a little frustrated that that is the way that you've chosen to express this, but I understand what you are trying to express, and I appreciate that you're trying to express that. Then later, when we're talking about, hey, when people say you know your loved one's in a better place, that doesn't actually make us feel better. So that the next time we or somebody else is in that situation, that Christian can think, oh, maybe there's a better way to say this to this person. We are past the days where Christianity is this looming thing over everything in society, and I think that a lot of us who are atheists don't necessarily
sweet baby angel
take a step back and look at the progress that we have had. Now, as an atheist who leans a little bit more to the right in terms of politics, there's definitely a lot that needs to be understood about where Christians are coming from. I just went to DebateCon, and all of the atheists that debated Christians did really, really, really bad. And it's not because they didn't know apologetics or the Bible or any of these things. It's because Christians have learned to switch their perspective to, this is true, let's debate that God exists, and all that stuff, to Christianity is better for society than secular humanism. And of course, that's a whole other discussion, but I actually agree with the Christians for the fact that secular humanism tells you what is right, but doesn't give people who don't care about doing right a reason to do the right thing, whereas religion absolutely does do that, even though it is not true. So my bottom line here is maybe it would behoove atheists in general to try to meet Christians and other religious people halfway, especially in those moments when they are trying to be nice, when they're not trying to say you're a bad person, you're a heathen, you're going to hell, when they're like, yeah, in those, go full bore. But when they're trying to be nice, let's give them a little grace and realize that they don't understand the plight that we have with these words and ideas because they're very positive in their minds. And if we are able to do that, we'll be better able to communicate with these people. And then on a larger level, our worldview is going to be much easier for them to receive, whether not saying that they're going to believe it or accept that it's the truth or anything like that, but just be able to understand, oh, okay, you're not some dirty heathen. You just think this way. You just have a different way of approaching morality and whatever the case may be. And I don't want to pick on this creator specifically because I do think the Klamadrop videos are an amazing, amazing way to do exactly what I'm just talking about and demonstrating to the religious people how agnostic and atheist people see religion and see religion in society. So again, go follow him. He does amazing videos, but just it's a very common thing for atheists to get mad when a Christian will say God loves you, or family is in a better place, or all these platitudes. And yeah, they're annoying platitudes, but it's up to us to put those people in a position to understand why we don't like them. Otherwise, all that's happened is, from the Christian's perspective, is, oh, I just went to this person's funeral, their uncle died, I was trying to be nice, and they wanted to have a religious debate about it. Who would want to listen to that person? In the same way that we, for so long, have been begging Christians and other religious people to look at atheists as just people, we also have to do the same thing. We are past the days where it is good for the movement to talk about, oh, a sky daddy. That's not what most Christians believe in. And so to use that rhetoric only lessens the view of all atheists in their mind. And I think this might be an example of doing the same thing. Let me know what you guys think, because this is not about giving grace to the Christian because we care about the Christian. Not that we don't, but that's not the reason. The reason is so that our message can be better understood.
Boom. And I will drop that in the chat if you guys want to go give it an extra view, give it an extra like, an extra comment. I mean, I would really love for that to get out there. I'm kind of proud of that one. And Nick said, "This is why I love you, bro. Don't give them a reason to hate you. Just be the bigger person." Exactly. And a shout out to Any Film. I see you in the after party already. That's what I like to see. Bog said, in person, 100% just people. on the internet and looking for a fight. I got them there too. Front end loading. I don't know what you are talking about. But yeah, what do you mean? This was 2 days ago. All I did was put my hair up. My hair is only ever down when I'm sitting here. Well, when I'm sitting in front of the camera. Most of the time, I it's long. I tie it up. But other than that, nothing. All this is exactly the same. The lighting's just a lot better here, so you can see all my flaws and blemishes and shit. But clearly, you know it. Clearly, Andrew Wilson has a lot of good ideas. He has the ability to get people to listen to him. He understands the aspect. Notice before when P.F. Jung brought up some joke about a woman on Piers Morgan, and Andrew's like, "What? But did you laugh?" Understanding the way that media works, that you have to be memorable, and that may not be the same way that that everybody operates, but it certainly is the way to grow a platform. So I mean, shout out to him for what he does, and he's definitely given us a lot of stuff to talk about. Like we've said, the debate between he and I is on the release schedule. Oh, you can't see it. It is on the release schedule, so it's there. It's coming out eventually. I don't know when, but you guys will definitely know about it. So make sure you are subscribed. If you are here for the first time, welcome. This is Morty, my co-host, and I have been your host, Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Let's give a big shout out to our donations. We had Trey in the building, and our sponsors, Holly and TV Viewerski. So unfortunately, we did not hit the swole goal, so we go back down to 10 push-ups for whatever 2 days, the next show, whatever it is. I don't know what fucking day it is. But actually, the new job, they asked me, they need me on Friday. So I'm likely going to do a Thursday show. I'm not exactly sure, but I won't be able to do the Friday show. I will let you know exactly what is good. Hey, shout out to Nilo. Hey, welcome to the party. We were just closing down and headed over to the after party in the VC. So hopefully we will see you there. Once again, guys, Morty Lutch, aka the Indian Jesus, here to resurrect the second coming of common sense. Until next time, guys, we are out of here. Peace. Go watch that video and put a like and a comment on it, please. Peace.